Hello. I am here. I am here. I never checked. I have got what I'm hoping is a much better camera now hooked up. So I just spent like the last 20 minutes fighting with it, which is okay. That's what you do, right? So the last 20 minutes fighting with this camera. But when I do this, it actually focuses properly now. I've got we went ahead and got the little Craptastico. Went ahead and got the Craptastico cord to hook up my good camera and just got it working. And hello, Linda. How are you today? I just got it working. So I'm hoping that this is going to do what it's supposed to do. It's just it basically you just take a really good camera and then it just takes a special cord and then you download a thing, and we did all that. Today I am just making, I'll go get one so you can see them. Do 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 do. Hi, Nanny. That's okay. Catch on the replay. So today I'm just making basic shopping bags today. I did these. These are the two that I've already done. These are the two that I did using your fabric. So those turned. Lisa loved this one. I did this one first, and then I did this one, and she loved it even more. So we've got two. These are padded and quilted. So these are the nice ones. I'm still finding little bits. I quilted these, but I did a crisscross thing. So I did that as a crisscross pattern. So every criss and cross has a beginning and an end that all needs trimmed. Not a big deal. It's just a step, and it's really easy to miss a few. So nice long. Oops, let me get this up here. Let me get that up there. Extra long handles for my wife. These are 29-inch handles. By the way, 29-inch handles gets you a really nice over-the-shoulder tote bag. Grocery bags are usually 18 inches if you're lucky. So this is an extra 10 inches over and above. Like I said, remember the quilted, remember that little bag that I showed you guys, the one that Tammy won, that bag? This is the exact same. I did one small thing. I did one little thing differently at the very top, but otherwise this is the, I'm not quilting bags today. Today I'm showing off these bags because they're done. Because this is the exact same. I did the exact same thing on this as I did on that little fuck around bag that I gave away I gave that away Friday. This is the exact same design, and just depending on the size, this is for a bag this size. For a bag this size, I started with a piece of fabric 21. Let me double check my measurements. Let me find out where my measuring tape went. I've only got 300 of these around Lisa loves these. I'm going to be quilting bags. I've got some regular generic shopping bags to make that I've been putting off for a long time. So this is 36 inches long. Can't be 18. That can't be right. 18. That cannot be right. Just cannot be right. Oh no, 20 inches wide. And then this starts off 20 inches wide, and then your combined total is 36 inches. So either 20 inches wide by 18 inches long or 20 inches wide by 36 inches long. This one here, This one here, I just used one piece of fabric, went all the way down and back again, 36 inches by 20 inches wide. Did the same thing as a batting. Did a batting. Did just a simple crisscross quilting across the top, and then folded, and then did the side edges, folded it back on itself, boxed the bottoms. This is actually a really simple bag to do. We'll just do that for now. It's fine. They're shopping bags. These, what I'm working on today, this is still cotton fabric, but this is a heavier cotton than I normally work with. And this has been in my stash for so long now. I can't even really remember where I got it from, but I just love the pattern. This one here is just very psychedelic, seems to me. And then this one here is just really nice Dresden something style. This is a slightly heavier. This is a heavier cotton than I use for my bags. It's too heavy to use for anything else. So I just turn these into quick down and dirty shopping bags. I sit down, I make a batch. I've got two of these, and then I'm making 4 of these today. And I just thought I'd go through them. This is the perfect project if you're learning how to sew, because it's just a shopping bag and you don't have to care if you fuck it up. That's why I thought I'd wait and finish. Well, not wait, but that's why I thought I'd finish these on camera. This is really simple. You take an 18-inch piece of fabric, 18 inches wide, width of the fabric, the entire width of the fabric, right? So this is just a single piece of fabric. I saved this last one so I can show you guys how to prep it. So you have an 18-inch piece of fabric, fold it in half backwards, iron it, get it folded in half as best as you can, right? And what you're actually going to have is you're going to have extra fabric at the end, right? You're going to have extra fabric at the end. So you take your 18-inch wide piece of fabric, get it all nice and even, lay it out. Oh, the camera's not showing it. Lay it out. I'm reenacting because you have to have ties. This is a lot of people call this a half yard project, because 18 inches wide is a half a yard of fabric. So you take your 18-inch wide piece of fabric, and around here, width of fabric is 42 inches, right? Take your 18-inch wide piece of fabric. You'll have your extra at the end, fold it in half, and then make this 18 by 18, cut it. Then you have these 2 pieces left at the end, which I already have. You take these 2 pieces at the end, and then you square them up, make sure that they're both the same size-ish. And you'll get, I'm just zipping through this. I am hyper today. Oh my God, and then you just take this to make your, these are going to be the handles for the grocery bags. Super, super simple. Really simple process. Take a piece of fabric, fold it in half and iron it down, right? Then you fold it in half again, iron it down, fold it half again, fold it in half again. Super, super, super simple. Just try to make sure that when you're trimming, when you fold your fabric, you're usually going to find quite quickly that you get your fabric folded, you get it all laid out like this, you get these 2 pieces cut, you end up with 2 pieces at the end. When you trim this to 18 inches, you end up with 2 pieces at the end. They're never, ever quite matching. So you just match them up as best you can and try not to worry about life. Keep them together with whichever 2 you make here, keep them together, because this two is not, they're never, ever going to be quite exactly. This is the manufacturing process of how they make fabric. But anyway, I'm over explaining and I haven't even started yet. I am just throwing together some quick, down and dirty grocery bags And I thought I'd do them on camera because I'm sure I'm going, let's do a quilted bag, which are the quilted bags are easy, but they're easy if you've got a little bit of experience. If you don't have really any experience, they can seem very, very daunting, but this is a simple project. So I ironed it because then things aren't going to shift the same way. So I've just simply taken it, iron it all up, fold it backwards with the pretty sides together, fold it backwards, iron it so it's nice and straight down at the bottom here, because once you iron this, once you iron that little seam backwards, it's not going to move around. It's not going to shift around as much. Pin it if you're comfortable, if that's what makes you comfortable. Anyway, how you guys today? How is life, the universe, and everything? Oh, I got to change I have to change my thread over. My thread, my automatic needle threader still isn't working properly. I don't know whether I want to keep. I fiddled with it and got it to work a little bit. I don't know if I want to keep fiddling with it. There we go. That was from the other bags. I need to switch over to a yellow. Do I have yellow? Ah, don't escape. Who tried to escape? There we go. That'll work. It's a nice basic yellow. Anyway, I just thought we'd shoot the shit while I do these. These are simple. Gloves are going on because my hands are super dry. Super, super dry today. And back off again because I have to. These are gloves on, gloves off, gloves on, gloves off all day long. I'm making 4 of these, so I definitely am not. I definitely do not have enough thread on the bobbin. Make another bobbin. Anyway, what's new and exciting for you guys? Keep me company. Tell me stories. There we go. We haven't been doing a lot around here. Just waiting for the Kickstarter to end. Come on. My leg decided that it hates me, so it's been a week. Nothing horrible. I've said this before. This is about what? Once or twice a year, my leg just decides that it doesn't want to be a leg anymore, so I end up with some problems. Hi, Stevie. I'm making some quick grocery bags today. Nice and basic, nice and simple. Excellent beginner project because if you end up fucking something up, nobody will ever know but you, and it's super easy to fix it, and it's super easy to deal with it. But this has been sitting from my stash. I pulled this out of my stash like weeks ago. That I'm gonna. Did it go? Of course it didn't go. My needle threader hates me, so yeah, my needle threader's not going to work. I got to stop being lazy and do it properly now. I should have showed you guys that. If your needle, I'm trying to turn a dress into a top. Oh, that sounds like fun. Wait a second, I thought I had this set up properly already. Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Isn't that awesome? My camera my camera actually has focus now. Yeah, I don't know why, but if I get my second finger in here and just it helps instead of going like this, I'm a lot more stable if I get both hands involved. I always also snip. I just go straight across and just snip the very end of the thread before I try and put it through. If you try and put the thread through after it's been cut any other way, or if it's been sitting for a bit, it has all those little frays on it. So this is, I've literally just rolled out of bed and I'm drinking my coffee. I have to get ready for an all morning appointment when I'm home. Going to try one of these. These bags are super simple. They really are. They really are. Like I said, you just take they're called half yard projects. You can look them up. This is not some amazing design that I've done on my own. You just take your half yard of fabric, iron it out, make sure it's, and this one here, by the time I trimmed it up to be square, because I always trim and square things off before I get started when I'm doing these kind of projects. By the time I made sure that this was nice and square, it's 17.5 inches. But it's just a grocery bag. I am literally just going to go grocery. I'm going to throw these bags into the nice quilted bag that I made. And then from there, but yeah, so fold it in half, get your 18 inches, take the 2 pieces that are going to be left on the top and just fold it in half and then fold each half again. Really simple. I always iron these. That's it. You just go like that. Fold it in half, fold it in half again, fold it in half again. Easy. I do. Now you can make these bags out of any kind of material you want, because you know what? A regular generic grocery bag, the regular generic crappy grocery bags that we get from the grocery store are usually only rated for about 10 pounds worth of stuff anyway. And even your lightest quilting cottons, because I use quilting cotton for everything, even your lightest quilting cottons. So for this, you have to sew this shut, obviously. So this is easy. Just get yourself lined up in a way that you're comfortable with. I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting it slide between. I am just guiding a little bit from here, and otherwise just letting it slide between my fingers. If you feel like things are shifting, then just stop, give it a little thing. But it's just a grocery bag. We don't have to care. I don't need to backstitch, because I usually just go like this, as close to the end as I can get. Just go straight across, and then just a plain. Okay, you can do just one. You can stitch it just one time, put that together, or you can come along the back as well and just put one in for decorative to make it look even. I prefer the decorative, and it doesn't take that long. But yeah, once your fingers lining up here become a guide. They literally become a guide. Let the machine do the work, because it's where you end up with that whole thing from here is when you're trying to guide it. You don't need to guide these. It's light. It's simple. The last little tiny bit, sure, you're going to want to. I mean, even that, I'm not really guiding it. I just got my hand up here in case it tries to shift. And then I like to just close up the bottom a bit. You don't have to close the bottom, because the bottom is going to get closed when you add it to your bag. One down. Yeah, I rolled out of bed. Decided I wanted to I got these prep last night, and then this morning I got up and it's like, well, why don't I just hang out for a bit and do these on camera? They're super easy. And of course, going slower. For me, these are just grocery bags. I don't care if I'm going too fast and it goes a little off. I don't really care. So I'm pretty immune to them shifting around. But yeah, this has been sitting in my to-do pile for a really long time. It's a heavier. I picked it up because I think I got it for like $1 a yard. I got it super, super, super cheap. I just can't remember where I got it from. But I got it intending to make bags out of it, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna make bags out of this, and I decided, and it's been sitting for like 2 years. I'm doing 4 bags, but if you're gonna do multiple of these bags, actually I don't need to pull that over. If you're gonna do multiple of these bags, which I'm doing, then you do want to keep you want to keep your, you want to keep the strap with the bag, because just for whatever reason, once you get this part done in your 18, once you get your 18 and by 18 done, the little piece that comes out the top may not be exactly 2 inches. It should be, but it never ever is. So you don't care. You don't care because it's just a shopping bag, but every now and again, there's a noticeable difference in the width of the handles, a bit based on whatever's left. I'm going to backstitch a little bit here. So I'm just doing a quick 1/4 inch seam down the side. I'm not bothering to go all the way down to the exact corner, and I'm not bothering to backstitch because I'm going to be boxing the corners. Let's get this over here a little bit better. I'm going to be boxing the corner. So this little corner here is getting cut out. So what's new and exciting with you guys? I literally have had a hell of a week with I haven't been doing any sewing for the shop, like, at all. If I start sewing for the shop, then I will keep going even if my leg is acting up. It's no big deal, but if my leg's acting up, I just don't start anything that matters. That way, if I do decide to just walk away, I'm not feeling like I'm disappointing myself or somebody or whatever, right? Okay, cut that. Now, you've got a couple of choices. If you really, really are not okay with because there's going to be some, this seam is going to be exposed, right? So if you're not okay with that, you can give this a fold and then sew, just like you would anything else where you're trying to hide the seams. You can hide the seams on this, but it's just a shopping bag. I don't give a shit. So I'm coming back. I just put it to a zigzag. There's also a, what's that stitch called? There's a stitch that lets you do this and the zigzag all as one step. I just, because it's a shopping bag, I prefer, because it's a shopping bag, I prefer to come back and do it twice, not just for reinforcing and sturdiness. Overcast, yeah. You can do it. You can do an overcast stitch instead of doing it twice like I'm doing it. Yeah. Yeah, I've got an overcast stitch. I just find, I'll tell you right now, it's just a cheap generic. Okay, 2 things are happening here. It's an inexpensive generic shopping bag. I'm not expecting miracles from it. If anything happens, I can come back and repair it. If a seam pops, I can deal with that sort of stuff. But I also know that I have a tendency to really overpack my shopping bags. So it's like this 2 distinct and separate layers of stitching just creates an overall, in my opinion, I'm not telling anybody else, but in my opinion, it just feels like it's a stronger seam. Again, I'm going to be boxing this. I'm going to be going 2 inches by 2 inches. So once I get down to the bottom 2 inches, I'm not agonized. I need to sew for my market stall. I did 2 markets on Saturday and now low on stock, but shopping bags are calling me. These kind of shopping bags are really simple. And there's, have you heard of a French seam? Maybe I'll do it on the next bag. I'll do it on the next bag. I'll see if I can do it on the next bag. Basically, there's a way to open. You can do this like this, and the zigzag will means that it'll still fray a little bit, but once it gets to that where that zigzag stitch is, it won't go past that. But you can do what's called a French seam and do this type of a bag and have all your seams exposed. Or like I said, just turn it over onto itself. There's a whole bunch of ways to cover the seam, and you can also just take a light piece of fabric and just put it over like you can take a lighter piece of fabric, like even a just really inexpensive, really super thin whatever, and do a binding down this. You can bind this in so that it's covered up if you really want to elevate a basic shopping bag. Come on. Okay. Now I'm back over here for a minute. This is simple. Doop. Doop. Let's see. Oh, beautiful. I love the new camera. Okay. It's not a new camera. It's a new. I took my existing camera, my DSLR, because we have one, and I took that camera and got the $10 cord, and now I can use it as a webcam. The bag, these bags here that I did the quilted one. By the way, do you know what I quilted these ones with? Instead of batting, which batting isn't really expensive. I don't know how to describe this because batting can be like the batting that I get is like $20 a yard, right? But it's like almost six each yard. So you get 3 feet wide, but about 6 feet long. You can get a lot of stuff out of it. So for this, I set it back here so it'll be convenient. Then immediately forgot where I put it. I always mark it. You can guesstimate. There's two different ways to box a corner. There's this way where you take it and you pull it like this, and then you mark it at a diagonal. Or for this, okay. I am just running over the stitch lines here. This is why I wanted this. Okay, so that's where the stitches are. I just darkened it up by going over it with, and this is a friction pen. It'll come off. So you do not. So I want a 2-inch by 2-inch. So a 2-inch by 2-inch box, right? This line here does not go on the outside edge. It goes along the stitching, because when you flip the bag inside right, this is now your outside. This is now your outside edge. That's just your seam allowance now. This is seam allowance. Act like when you're measuring, this no longer exists. So you just go 2 inches along the stitch line, 2 inches along the very bottom, and then mark it. People get confused by this. Especially if you're doing one that's a little bigger, it can get confusing because when you look at it, it's now a rectangle. Hi, Trisha. So it's a rectangle. It's not a square because you ignore your seam allowance. Ignore your seam allowance and then measure 2 inches by 2 inches, and then just do the same on the other side. And don't be afraid to double check, triple check. And also this, like I said, this is just a generic shopping bag. If you screw up and go 3 by 3, who's going to care? You're just dragging around your groceries in it. Okay. Mind you, if you screw up and go 3 by 3, then just turn this one into 3 by 3 and fix it that way. Anyway. I do prefer to mark them because even though it's just a grocery bag and I don't care, I prefer to mark them because I already have enough bad habits. I don't want to add even more bad habits because, I haven't even pinned this. So what am I doing? I'm heading back to the machine. I'm distracting myself. I am distracting myself. So you just mark it. Cut it out. This is where a really good pair of scissors comes in handy so that you can get right into the corner. If you can't get right into the corner, and don't be afraid to, let me just get over here. Let me just do this one. Okay. Oh my God, but my scissors suck. Whatever should I do? Well, you take this lovely dude. You take the big one. You push it into your corner and give it a little wiggle. Now, I'm not going to go crazy because I've got the good scissors, but you're going to give it a little wiggle, and you're going to open up your corner a little bit. You're going to open up your corner a little bit because having a little bit of a messy spot, where you opened your corner is better than having a problem with your scissors. Did I go all the way through? I didn't go all the way. Having a little bit of a messy spot at your corner is better than struggling with your scissors and then going and cutting halfway up to here, which happens. Don't ask me how I know. I have never had that happen in my life, ever, not once. I'm not lying to you guys, ever. I would never lie about something like that. And then, of course, you can come by. You can come by and clean it up later if you want, but you don't have to. You don't have to. So we're going to go over here. Back to the machine again. Get in there. Back to the machine again. I'm liking this new camera much better. So we're just back over here again. We're just fiddling and futzing. Basically, you've got your clear L right there. So it's really easy to figure out where your corner is. Pinch that one. It's really easy to figure out where that one is. Pinch that one. And it's not going to match. It's not going to match. It's never going to match. When you do it this way, when you cut it out from the square, it's never going to match until you make it match. So what you're going to do is you're going to get it on here. You're going to take your time, get your two corners lined up. Get my big fat hands in the way. You're going to take your time, get your two corners lined up. And again, I'm just going to do the overcast stitch. Which one is that? That's not the one I want. Which one's the one I want? Oh, I can't even spot it. Well, I was gonna do the right stitch. Do. Okay, well, I'm not doing it that way then. Okay, so you're just gonna get your first couple of stitches in. Back stitch. And leave the needle down. And then just wiggle it a little bit and get it exactly where you want it. Go across. And it does not need to be perfect. It really doesn't. I mean, get it. Okay, practicing. Yeah, I'm really liking what this camera is doing. So this is a good, okay, so it doesn't matter if you fuck this up with this type of a bag. But it's also a good opportunity to practice getting these lines correct. Because like, I don't care if I fuck up this bag, but I did the exact same boxing technique on those other bags, and I definitely didn't want to fuck those up, right? So this is a good opportunity to get in practice. And again, I am doing it. I forget which ones. I'm spotting, like, I've got plenty of ones. I've got plenty of stitches on my machine here. I'm just not spotting which one is the actual overcast stitch, because I've got like one. I've got a blanket stitch. That's probably the overcast stitch right there. Anyway, whatever stitch works best for you. Zigzag or overcast stitching just keeps it from fraying. You're still gonna get a little bit of fraying until it starts hitting the points of those zigzags. Anyway, get this over here. Fiddle and fart for a minute. Fiddle, fart, fart and fiddle. It lines up, but it always looks like one goes flat, the other one goes, it looks like it's going in a bump up and down. Don't let that bother you. Make sure you're starting with the corner in there properly. Get a couple of stitches in. See? I don't know if you can see that. See how off that is? If you don't care. Yeah, well, the zigzag stitch is easy. Zigzag stitch is super easy. An overcast stitch is just a stitch that does both stitches as part of the same thing. My big thing is, I never finished my sentence. My big thing is, I know how much shit I put into a thing. If an overcast stitch is a really good stitch to use, because I have a tendency, like sometimes I'll have all kinds of shit in these bags. So if the overcast stitch breaks, it's going to break the whole thing all in one step. Whereas if you've got 2 lines of stitching, then if I pop the one seam, the other seam will hopefully hold things in place until I can repair the bag. But that's, like I said, that's just my preference. But this is just a grocery bag, so we don't have to care. Okay, now, taking off some of the obvious loose threads. This is a bit of a process here. You got a couple of options. You've got a couple of options. So this is based on your comfort. I'm going to leave the bag inside out for now because what you can do is really simple. You can just, okay, you have to fold this down. You can fold it down once and just zigzag right over top of the seam, and that'll hold everything down. And then just zigzag that all the way around one time. There's a whole bunch of options here. Okay, so do that and then zigzag carefully right along that line, right? So one fold, zigzagging across everything. Or you can go 2 folds and just sew it. And that's fine too. You can, which is what I'm going to do, you can leave your bag folded inside. As long as your bag is folded inside out, this is one of the reasons why I wanted this cameras, because I can shift things around easier. So you've got your, I'm just marking it so it's visible for you guys. You've got your seam allowance. Never measure from the outside. Only measure from the, this has got a zigzag stitch and a straight stitch. Whichever one is closest to the inside, that's where your measurements start and end. Okay. So then you just line that up. And with your seam allowances in it, 17.5. So I lost a little over half an inch. Not only lost, but half an inch. So 16 and 3/4. My foot is a little tiny bit over a zigzag. The zigzag stitch helps with fraying, especially like, okay, I'm not folding this in to hide the seam, right? So anything that has a zigzag stitch, either as part of the stitch, like an overcast stitch, or do a straight line and then a zigzag. You can just zigzag the whole thing. I like 2 layers of stitching for this type of bag. I only do this when I'm making grocery bags. I like the 2 layers because it just feels like it feels like one reinforces the other. What I'm going to do, and you can do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to do it the easy way today. Fold it in half. Iron it if you have to. Is it going to go back far enough? Fold it in half. Finger press it just a little bit. So you can find your center. Mark it if you need to. This is easy. You just mark it. Not really going to see it. There's a tiny almost invisible crease in it. Mark it if you need to. And then just, there's where it met up on the other side, right? Okay. You can do this a whole lot of ways. If you have a serger, then you can just serge all the way around the top. The reason why you need to do anything with this is to make sure it doesn't fray. This will start fraying like crazy if you leave it, and eventually the stitches will pop. What I like to do is find my center. Doesn't matter where the center is. You can measure it from here. You can measure it from here. So just put your ruler right on the center. Go out about, let's see, 1, 2. Yeah. Go out 1, 2, 3.5. Say 3.5. Whatever. This is entirely what you want, right? 1, 2, 3.5. Whatever you want. This needs to be whatever works for you. If you want your bags, if you want one big handle that just comes from each end, then do that. Then just sew these together, then make your big long strip, and now you've got a big long bag. Whatever works for you for handles, that's what works. So now, there it is. I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold that. Then I'm going to fold it again. What I'm going to do, this is friction marker again, by the way, just so you know. So I'm going to make a longer line. I'm going to make longer lines because I want to be able to see where I'm putting everything, right? So I've got one long line there, one long line there. I've got this ready to go. I've got these ready to go. So I'm going to go fold it in half, fold it in half again. I'm not, okay, measure it if you want to. Measure it if you want to, right? If you want this to be exactly a half an inch, then measure it. So I'm just going to fiddle and fart and fiddle some more. Put that there. And then I'm just going to drop a pin in there. Did it go in? Of course, it didn't even go through properly. Let me get these off. Let's just stab myself. It'll be more fun that way. Okay. And if 505 spray is versatile, if you're really having problems getting this to go where you want it, just take a little 505 spray and just spray the very tip of this so that when you set it down, it's not going to shift around that much. Come on. There we go. I'm just being careful how I pin it through. This is okay. This is not perfect. This is already popping back out. So I'm not concerned because I'm just going to toss it right back in. So basically what you want this to do, you want to fold it in half. People quite often get these twisted. What you're going to do is you're going to fold this in half. Okay. Lay it down and put them out, push them out either. Okay. You're going to lay it in half and do this, right? You're either going to turn them towards each other or you're going to turn them away from each other. It's that simple. Pick which way you want them to go. And that's how you're going to do it. So I turn them towards each other. I turn them towards each other. Right? As long as they are, come on, what are you doing here? You are just not cooperating. I'm going to have to repin that one. It's just sliding everywhere. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this easy. I'm going to do it the right way. This is why I have pins and clips around. Come on. There we go. I should have grabbed the clips from the beginning. I really should have. So what's new and exciting? Tell me what's new and exciting today, guys. I am just so bored. When my knee is bugging me, I can't really do much. Well, I can. Don't get me wrong. I can. But then what I end up doing is I end up keeping it irritated, and then it doesn't want to get better. So I can push through and get stuff done, but there's usually a trade-off that I'm not very happy about. Now for this side's even easier to do because you can, if you're going to take the time to mark both sides before you get started, right? But what I like to do is just line this one up wherever this one was. It's like, oh, it's there. Okay, well, just put one exactly on top of the other and get on with my day. But again, this is just I spend a little bit more time doing it a little bit more properly when I'm doing proper bags. And I'll measure everything properly if I'm selling it. But doop-de-doop. Doop-de-doop. And again, you can come through here and iron everything into place. If you're going to iron everything into place, then do all the folding down stuff first and then put your handles on. Same thing with the measuring. Same all the way around for everything else. But come on, get out of there. I'm having. There we go. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. Oh, that goes there. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. I was gonna tidy. I was gonna tidy up a bit, but it took me longer to fiddle with the camera than I thought. So now I'm kind of tidying as I go and making a big mess of it. I also had a short errand to take care of. So for this, back to here. This is easier. What are we doing there? This is easier if that tray comes off. So for most of you guys, some people just get going and don't realize these trays come off. But for most machines, you just pull. You just pull and it comes right off. So this part will be quicker and easier to do. Get my pen out of the way. This part will be quicker and easier to do if you take that off, because then you can just, because this is for doing sleeves and stuff like that. You can just get it right over there. So, and like I said before, once you get that first little fold, and the fabric likes to cooperate. It enjoys cooperating. So I am literally going to start this just a tiny bit before this one. So I don't know if you guys are noticing this. You guys are probably you guys should be looking at this going, but the handles are pointing down. The handles are pointing down towards the bottom of the bag, right? They're supposed to. Oh, I don't want a zigzag stitch. This is a tote bag. It's just a generic grocery bag. I don't care if there's a couple of wrong stitches in here. Back stitch, reinforce that shit. I was starting to say, before I distracted myself, because God forbid I actually finish a sentence without distracting myself. When you go to the grocery store and you get one of their paper bags, they're only rated for about 10 pounds. So unless you are getting especially light and flimsy fabrics, most fabrics, even your basic quilting cottons, will easily hold a minimum of 10 pounds. This bag will hold like 30, 40 pounds easy. But you get those cheap paper or cheap plastic bags at the grocery store. They can only hold about maybe 10 pounds or so before they tear. So this happens to be a heavier. I can't use this in the shop because it's just too heavy of a fabric. But this is perfect for this kind of stuff, and it will hold a little bit more. I'm going over the handle. I went about halfway, then backstitched them forward again. Then the other half backstitch them forward again because it makes it easier to do a nice clean line. I'm also going to backstitch over top of this where these seams meet. So I'll try and do this again at this one. Well, you have to watch out. These things, these clips here can sometimes hang up here, get stuck on little things. So yeah, this just makes it more convenient. You can go all the way across, then back up all the way. But if you're not sure, go a little bit about halfway, then back up, then go the rest of the way, then back up. It's easier to see a lot of the time it can be easier to see, easier to make sure you're not missing anything, and easier to keep your lines nice and straight. So I'm just going along the bottom edge where the fold is. If you really want to get fancy, you can do a decorative stitch. You can just zigzag this. You don't have to do a straight stitch. You don't have to do anything you want. But again, like I said, you do want to reinforce this one here. And that goes there. I never did. Well, I started with a bit of a back stitch because I was right at the handle there, but you don't have to back stitch you don't have to start with a back stitch because you're going to be catching up to yourself anyway when you go around the other side. Just make sure you're aimed so that when you're finishing, you're going right over that previous stitch. Come on. Pumped up fabric like that doesn't always want to sew properly. And I just went right back over that first handle. Oh, thanks, Danny. Actually, it's pretty much done. I've only got one teeny tiny piece left to do. Basically, the next step to do, one last step. You take this. So you've got this. Let me just get this inside right. We'll show you. We'll show you what the bag looks like. Come on. Shake it off. You can do it. You can do it. There. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. All you have to do now is the handles are pointed to the inside of the bag for a reason, because you're going to take your handle, you're going to pull it up like that, right? You're just going to take your handle, you're going to pull it up like that, and then you're going to put one more stitch. You're going to sew that right there, and that will finish the handle and reinforce it. So we're going to go, I'm just going to go do that right now, but I will see you later, Nanny. So yeah, so we're just going to, so the bag is now inside right. I'm just going to take this. Let's see if I can get in there a little bit better. I'm just going to say, now the handles are pointed. The handles are like inside the bag. Now you don't, honestly, if you store your bags, this is a decision time. This is a decision time thing for you, right? If you're just using this as an emergency backup bag, then you might want to leave it like this. I think we have a lot. You might want to leave it like this so that you can store it easier, fold it down better, all that stuff, right? Because you can still carry lots. You can still carry lots of stuff just by pulling, just like that. You can leave it if there's a reason why you prefer having it being able to fold up more than you prefer it looking proper. All you're going to do is you're just going to take these, fold that over nicely, and you're just going to sew right there. Did I say that right? I don't know if I said any of that right. Anyway, one. So the bag, its the original spot where you sort it down is reinforced, and then you backstitch over this as well and reinforce. So that's just reinforced in 2 spots. A little bit of trimmings, and you're done. And you just go all the way around. Just fold it. I don't know if I can show you. I don't know if it's going to show you guys this. Okay, see your seam allowance right there. You've got your seam allowance. You've got your stitch line there. You've got a little bit of an edge there. So when you fold it, you want to fold it like right there. That's your target. That's what you're going for. So a little tiny bit out from where the stitch line is. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter though. Just a shopping bag. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Look at that. Oh, I am loving this like a lot. Part way back. There we go. Done. That's just my, if you're sewing through a lot of layers, you may find, happens to me on the regular, if you're sewing through a lot of layers, you may find that even after your thread is cut, that your, that this thread is, you may find when you're sewing through a whole lot of layers, let me start over because I'm like distracting myself. When you're sewing through a whole lot of layers, even after the thread is cut, you may find that the top thread, you may find that it's still in there and looks like it's stuck. It's not. It's just that it didn't release because there's just too many layers holding it in place. I don't know. Oh, that's my starting and ending stitch. Okay. So yeah, so that's all you're doing. You're just taking that, giving it a little fold, bringing it back, sewing it. That's it. I swear to God, it's taking me longer to explain this than just to do it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys got to see that or not, how it just seems to pull. It's not a problem. Okay, it's normal shit, and it's not an indicator. It does not mean you're having a problem with your machine. It just means that your thread It just means that there's a whole lot of layers and your thread's not pulling itself. Your thread has been cut, but it's not pulling itself backwards out through those layers again. There we go. I got the last one already. Yeah, that was done. Okay. Don't wreck the machine. Don't wreck the machine. Do. Yeah, I don't know. Now that's the other thing though, is that the other camera gives me a broader view of the table. Oh, don't even. There you go. I love how quickly easy that was. Oh. I'm in love with this camera now. You know, all I need now, and I'm sure that we've got it. I think we have a smaller lens, which will give me a wider view of the table. So if I were to get some sort of a arm that lets me hang the camera on it, one down, and see the handles now just naturally hang outside of the bag. Easy project, really, really super easy to do. It is. This is probably one of the easiest projects that you can do, just keeping in mind that you're using a half yard of material at a time. And the best place to get a half yard of material, if you're looking to sew, okay. I got this at a thrift shop. That's why I got it for like $1 a yard. I forget where though. Oh, I'm sorry, Shay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. My dog is down. Oh, she is so mad at me. Oh, I can't pull the camera over far enough. She was using the pink bags. I just dropped them down beside me here. She was using them as her pillow. And when I tried to shift them because I didn't realize she was on them, she's like snoring away, making all kinds of noise. And then she's like, and then she moved. Okay. The rest of these I already have prepped. Well, the first one I did too. Anyway, yeah, so as you go, when you go to the fabric store and you tell them you want a half yard of fabric, quite often, like this one here, yeah, this one here is just 17 and change. So what you need to do is fold it in half, make sure each side is relative. Okay, and if the side is not relatively straight and you just don't care, yeah, I spend a lot of time triple checking all measurements. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so normal. Oh, just a second. I got itchies happening. I got to go blow my nose. And I should hang up my wife's bag before she kills me. Did your body ever do this to you where you get up and you're like, oh, I'm going to get up and do a thing. In this case, I'm going to get up and go blow my nose. And the instant you stand up, your bladder goes, well, let me unkink the hose for you and give you another reason to get up. I swear to God, no matter, I can be absolutely fine. And then I stand up, it's like, well, gotta pee. It's like, Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway. Yeah, these are really easy to do. Like I said, the other thing that, yeah, it's like, I cannot stand up. It's like, oh, got time to take the dogs for a little walk outside. There's a 2-minute chore for you. No, you're going to be in the bathroom for 5 minutes peeing. So don't forget. I already put the other one away. This one's already been washed. This pink guy's already been washed. So he's already got a little bit of shrinkage. So this is what's going to happen. You're going to get a little bit of fraying, and that's normal. Yeah. Every time I pass the bathroom, may as well go pee. For me, it's like it's a hose. It's like as long as I'm sitting, the hose is kinked. And the minute I stand up, it's like, oh, off you go. So this one's been washed. You can see here that it's got a. You can see here, hopefully. Okay, this is way better than the other camera was because there's no. I couldn't show you guys the stitching most of the time. So there's a line of regular stitching there. Let's go back up here. Let's go there. There's a line of regular stitching there. There's the zigzag there, right? Everything that's above the zigzag, there will be some fraying. To expect that, right? That's going to be normal. And then after a while, this stuff. So maybe every now and again you want to just check the inside if you give a shit. It's just a grocery bag, okay? It's only gonna. If it's just a grocery bag. So if you care, you may want to come back in. Don't trim it really, really close here because you could end up cutting the zigzag. Just trim the little loose bits off and be on your way if you decide you care. If you decide that you really care and that this is a problem, if you decide that you really care and that this is a problem, you can fold this down and come back. I already put the other bag over there. You can fold this down flat, come back and do another zigzag stitch all the way down. But honestly, it's a lot of work. This is just like the other bags that I did are completely, there's only one spot where there's only one spot on the padded bags that have got exposed seams like this, and that's in the corner. What about serging it? Serging it would be perfect. Serging it would just be a zip, 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 and then add your handles. You could either serge the top. You could either serge the top to seal it all in, or do the fold over thing. I've got a serger. I bought a serger because I was hoping that I could use it for making reading cloths, but I realized that it doesn't do what I want it to do. So I've got to get the serger out one of these days. French seams. Oh yes, French seams. French seams. If you're going to do a French seam, how was I going to say to do it? Okay, if you're going to do a French seam, there's a couple of different ways because you can just take this. This is if you want a bag that you never ever have to worry about or whatever, if you really, really want to make this to the next level. I discovered yesterday that the smoke detectors in my house work. I accidentally set my fabric on fire when I was burning off the stray threads. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that, Stevie. When you're doing the stray threads, the best way to do the stray threads is tap, 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 tap. If you let it actually flame up, you could end up with big problems. Don't forget that you're not going to go all the way down into that corner. That's getting cut off, right? So you can start this, fold it again, and then sew, and have your seams covered. And then when you do this part, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show it very well because I don't want to actually do it. When you do this part, so basically if you fold this in as you go and sew it all down, you'll have that taken care of. And then when you get to this part, you can also fold it up and do the same thing. But then you're going to have really, I'm thinking in future, I'll just snip, snip. I snip, snip. And then if I'm doing top stitching where the, if I do top stitching where I have the straight threads at either corner, then I'll go tap, 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 tap. But do it really, really fast and take your time and whatever. But yeah, you kind of got to be careful. You have to be careful with that. But as long as you're, always supervised, but you can turn this up and do that. Or you can take a piece of fabric. You can take a piece of fabric, cut it to size. Cut carefully. Do not cut what's under there. And then I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, you know what? I think we all make those mistakes. It's no big deal. So you just do that, you do that, right? And you do that. So you just, this is the exact same thing that you make a handle out of, right? Put that there, put that there, and so on. Obviously you do it clean. I'm doing it big and obvious so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, but you can cover up this and you can even do the same thing. You can even do the same thing up the entire side. There's a whole bunch of ways. There's a whole bunch of ways to cover up this seam and avoid any possibility of fraying. But on these are just simple, basic grocery bags. I go for sturdiness, and nobody's seeing that. Nobody is seeing that but me. And it's super easy. Just after, basically, these are 100% washable. So after they've been washed for the first 2 or 3 times, because the reason why this has been washed, that's why it's got some fraying. As soon as it hits the top of that zigzag, it's not going to fray anymore. So you'll save yourself a lot of hassle that way. But I'm not trying to accomplish anything fancy. So I am just doing it. Come on. I am just doing it. I'm just doing whatever works. I suppose I should put the tray back on. Now, normally what I should be doing is you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and finish all of the I'm going to finish all the handles first. But like I said, when I made the handles, I just cut my 18 inches over here. Whatever was left, I made whatever is left. I squared them off to each other, and then went ahead and made my handles. Basically, you compare each handle to the other. Make sure that they're both the same size, and then your handle will be the same width, because you're never going to quite get exactly the right amount off the end. I don't know how to say it right. You can make the decision that you're going to only. There is no such thing as a stupid question, Stevie. Just ask. It's fine. Are you guys hearing me okay? Because my microphone's over here and I'm facing this way. I do not know how to explain this, but when you're working with different each one is going to have a slight. Just no two things are perfect. It's a 1/4 inch. If you're going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, then it's 1/4 inch from the edge of the fabric. So if I decide that I want a 1/4 inch seam allowance, now for me, my foot isn't exactly a 1/4 inch. So I line it up. Okay, perfect, Esme. Thank you. Basically, if you're ever really trying to make sure, if you're working on a project where this matters for you, then measure where your needle, put your needle down. I don't know if I can get this in. Can I get this in a little closer? Put your needle down. Okay. Get a, put this right on, put the needle down, lift your foot up, And obviously I've got my knee lift. I can do this. Put the 2-inch right exactly there and figure out where your 1/4 inch is at. For me, my 1/4 inch is right there. I'm my fingers are out of the way here. Let me see. Oh, you're not going to see that. For me, the 1/4 inch line is right beside the foot here, right beside this on the other side. And that's where I want to line it up. But yeah, when they say seam allowance, basically, oh, this one's already done. When they're talking about a seam allowance, they're always talking about the exact amount between where the edge of the fabric is and your stitches, because when you're working with precision, you have to know how much extra to leave so that you have room to sew it. I hope I explain. If it doesn't make sense, I am happy. I am totally, like, ask my wife. I am totally happy to say it differently, show an example. I am totally happy to discuss this for as long as you need to make sure that it makes sense, because I will tell you right now, I fucked up so many things in spectacular ways because I didn't understand the details of what I was supposed to be doing. So I have absolutely no, and don't forget, and the other thing is that I don't do exact, I'm self-taught. So a lot of the terminologies that other people are using don't necessarily make a lot of sense to me. So, which I get. Most of us these days are self-taught because there's always a YouTube video that we can go look at, right? Oh, that's not what I want. Get over there. Get over there. There we go. But yeah. I find that when I'm sewing, I end up doing a my machine seam line starts at 3/8. I was just gonna say, my machine does the same thing. 3/8. When I line this up against, and you guys will just be able to see here. This is the metal piece, and then this is the plastic piece. And when I line it up exactly where the metal and the plastic meet, that's 3/8 of an inch for me. Or no. That's my 1/4 inch. When I line it up here, it's 3/8 of an inch. So when I line it up against the outside of the foot, I get 3/8 as well. So what I tend to do is add an extra 1/8 of an inch to whatever I'm cutting. If it says you want this to be 5 1/4 inches, yeah, washi tape marking my favorite seam allowance. Absolutely, that is the best way to do it. That's something I realized I have. What do I have? Which one is it? Is that one? That's got a 1/4 inch on it. And I need to learn how to use it. And that is, I'm not sure what that, I've got, you know what it is? What is that one? Yeah, this is a 1/4 inch. This is a 1/4 inch. This foot is a 1/4 inch foot, and it's got a weird thing on it. I don't really know how to use it, and I've never taken the time to learn because I was doing all my sewing on a different machine. Yeah, and that's something else. I don't use any of that shit. Yeah, Peggy taught and YouTube, pretty much. Yeah, like we're all self-taught these days. I mean, it's just the way it is. I'm basically self-taught from YouTube. I carried the basics through. I don't know how to describe this. I carried the basics through since from whenever, wherever. But then I'm going from a Singer Simple, which is like the other machine, the Brother machine. The Singer Simple is even simpler than that. And I'm going from that to this. I don't want to call it a learning curve. That's not really fair. But machines it's its own thing. It's like, and everything that you make, like, I say this all the time. You can learn how to do one thing for sewing, and it doesn't mean you know the other thing for sewing. We've got a couple of new people over at my favorite fabric store, right? And the one lady, you know, because I'm a chatty person. It's like, oh well, my, you know, a couple of my regular ladies retired, I guess, and so I'm chatting with her. And she's like, yeah, I'm taking a break from making clothes, so I have to learn. She's going to take a class to learn how to quilt because she only knew how to make clothes. It's different, and we don't really give that enough credit. So. And nowadays, like I suppose you could, but you couldn't really make your own purse. Machines just wouldn't handle that level of machines. Just a regular sewing machine just wouldn't handle it. So what I'm going to do right now, but I'm going to move that so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take these. I'm going to clip them together. I don't care which bag I attach them to, but I want these two to stay together because they're the same width. This set is also the same width. I don't know if it's going to show up or not. Yeah, see? Now it's not really that big of a deal. Come on, it's not that big of a deal. But come on, but the one is wider than the other by a little bit, right? So I made sure that these two were the same width, but I want to keep them separate from those two. Pants are easy. Pants have their own thing. I will say that one of the things, if it's a heavy denim, I don't know if I've shown this before. Oh. One thing that you may have to do, it depends on your machine, so be aware, okay? Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's do that. Let's cut this first. This is one of those things I'll tell you right now, I have had to come back. Yeah, then you should be fine because sometimes what happens is you come here and you go like this. Right? And then you get your original seam, and then when you get here, it gets really thick. And then when you're trying to go back over it again, it gets, I don't know how to describe this. I had to deal with it on my bags. I'm not doing it right. Okay. So you've got that. And then where this folds, where that folds, it gets, okay. So you've got a seam, right? You've got a seam right there, right? And then you're folding it down and then you're folding it again. And that seam area can get really thick. That's an area of thickness that you have to sew through, right? So sometimes if you're sewing a heavier material, if it's a heavier material, and if it's a heavy material and you don't have a heavy duty machine, you get to here, and then this thickness pops in. This area of thickness is trying to get through, and in jeans, this can be incredibly thick, right? So then you might have to go like this, stop, bring your needle up, go forward, put in a couple stitches. Stop again, go back, because you might every now and again, these areas where that's happening, it mostly happens on jeans, but every now and again, this area down at the bottom, let's get back, is it on camera? Every now and again, this area at the bottom where you've got one seam being folded into another seam, every now and again, this area can get so thick and so heavy that if you don't have a heavy duty machine, it can start breaking your needles and causing you all sorts of problems. So you just go stitch, stitch, lift your foot, bring it past, stitch, stitch, lift your foot, back it up, and just go over that. Instead of going through the bump, go over it a few times and hold it down that way, and then continue your sewing. And I don't have something that I can do. I don't have anything that I can show you with, but sometimes you end up having to, like, instead of sewing through it, you have to stitch, lift your needle, get over this exact line here. Stitch, lift your needle, go over the line, stitch, lift your, back, lift, back, lift, forward, lift. It's not. Yeah, I'm making it sound like a much bigger problem than what it is, because it's not a problem. It is not a problem, but I have had situations. I sometimes, what was it? I was making something. I forget. Anyway, oh yeah, trying to do two pocket bags on that Brother machine. Yeah, I came across that a couple times. So it is not the end of the world. It is not the end of the world. Just go back and forth over the seam 3 or 4 times. It'll still hold your seam down. It'll hold your seam down and reinforce what is there without having to wreck your machine trying to get through the thickest of the material. Yeah, I shouldn't talk that Brother machine though, because when I wasn't trying to wreck it, I couldn't get it to do what I wanted. And then when I was trying to wreck it, it was like, fuck you, I'm going to be perfect now. And again, you only have to go down one side. You only have to go down one side to close it. I just do the other side just for decorative. When you, see, I mean, I'm just letting it flow between my fingers. I'm getting, the line is perfect. Mind you, I'm like, one's narrower. Oh, they're both the same. And then I'm just going to close it out because I can. I am getting so much. My sinuses are so much better today, though. We have 3 wild cherry trees growing outside. So just as I think my normal springtime allergies are going away. They start up when that happens. The cherry trees are done now. All the blossoms are off the cherry trees, which is great. Now the cottonwood's going to be starting. That's okay. I feel like I'm getting a couple of days off. Something else that's a lot of fun. Every now and again, I don't know if you guys just noticed that, but let me see. My normal straight stitch foot has a wee spring on the side. So if you get a thick bit, you press it and the stitch is flat and sorts itself out when you get down the other side. Yeah, this has the same thing. This has the same thing right over here on the side. That works beautifully. Yeah, as long as it's going up and over, it should be fine. But every now and again, if it's too thick, it will, it might not be able to handle jeans. It might not be able to handle heavy denims. It depends on the machine, honestly. Honestly, it depends on the machine. If it's just regular trousers, men's trousers, then it should be just fine. Every now and again, I can't really show this because it's related to the foot, but every now and again you'll be sewing and you take your foot off and it wants to go forward an extra stitch or two. And some machines do it, some machines don't. This machine does it. So again, I'm just going to clip these. It does not matter to me which pair of handles goes on which bag. It just matters to me that the same handles that they go on, because no, these 3 are not exactly the same. Basically, I don't care if one set of handles is a little wider than the other. So instead of going exactly 2 inches, they say basically it's like do 18 inches, right? When you trim your length to 18 inches, you'll have 4 inches, you fold it in half, take the pieces that are left, trim them to 2 inches. But if I can get 2.5, 2 3/4, then I will do that. Come on. No, not my arm, not that. I'm still getting the hang of it. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think I'm going to be using this camera from now on. Now that I've got it working, I thought it wasn't going to work. And I'm sitting there fighting with it. It's like, it's not going. It's not going. What do I do? And then it just went, and it went, fuck you. And then it just turned itself on. Yeah, this is, I don't know how to describe this. My leg is fine. I'm fine. Blah, 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 blah. It's just the normal, it's the normal everyday bullshit. But when it's deciding to go over and above and say it's, I want to be able to stop on a dime. I want to be able to stop and just walk away and not have to worry about whether, like, you know, like say I walk away from this and come back a week later and everything's all frayed and nasty. It's like, I don't want to do that to regular shop stuff. So I'm not doing anything in the shop this week. Didn't do anything for the shop. I didn't do anything with the shop last week because I was doing that quilt and those tote bags. And then my leg went, fuck you, watch this. So I'm not doing anything in the shop this week, but I'm not gonna not sew. This is a great opportunity for me to work on other projects. I'm not so screwed up that I can't work. I just I don't know how to describe this. Okay, like I am not going for a 3-mile hike today. Still took the dogs for a walk, but we took our time. We didn't try to make them hurry, you know. I'm whiny about it. Because it pisses me off when my leg is doing this, but not a big deal. A little bit of Advil, a little bit of biofeedback. Life is good. I don't have to take any extraordinary measures. I just have to take it easy, which is the part that matters. Anyway, other than that, though, I'm really fucking bored. I am totally bored. My God, I'm bored. Okay, one down. Last one's almost done. Yeah, I don't think. Well, no, I've sewn jeans. I've sewn jeans on this. We don't do hemming and stuff like that. So I'm either wearing jeans or like I got a couple pair of decent dress pants, but fortunately I can just get my stuff off the rack. I don't have to do anything special. I just wear cheap t-shirts, so if anything happens there, I just go get another t-shirt. I mean, I'm not kidding. Cheap. Last time I got t-shirts, it was like, oh, they're on sale, $5 each. Let's get 6. It's like, okay. We were at one point messing around with the idea of maybe making some stuff for Lisa, and then realized that we realized that it was going to be didn't find a lot of patterns that we liked for starters, and also realized that just it was going to cost more for the fabric to make stuff than it was to just go buy pretty much the exact same thing. So don't do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm fat, but I'm also tiny. I don't know why shops think that if you're fat, you have 2-mile-long legs. Oh my God! You know what? That is the big part of the reason why this is kind of weird. Like, you know, like everybody. I don't know how to describe this, but it's like this is the main reason why I started wearing men's clothes. I don't wear men's clothes because of my sexuality. I mean, okay. Let's be honest, because of my sexuality, I am much more comfortable wearing men's clothes, and that's fine. But that was never the reason. It was never it's one of those things that's like, oh, nothing fits me in the women's department because I've always been short. And it's like, I'm short, I'm fat, I go into the store and they expect, you know, like we've got stores here that don't go above a size 6. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you know, I'm probably a size, 18 to 20. I don't know. I don't know that shit, right? But I go into the men's section. You go into the men's section. Oh, this is the waist. This is the length. This is the waist. This is the length. Super easy. You just have a great big wall of clothes and you go, okay, this is the one that's going to fit me. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's like I started wearing men's clothes back when I was still dating men, because women's clothes never fit me ever. And even shirts, because they figure that if you're I've got a pretty big chest. It's like, oh, well, if you're this tall, your boobs can only be this big. But yet I go to the men's section and it's like, oh, well, if you're this tall, it's okay. Here's a shirt that's going to fit. It's like, it's just crazy. It's crazy making stuff. Okay, so the handles are done and paired off. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, if you do not want any seams visible, then you're going to take this and you're going to fold it over first. It's going to be a little thick. So if you're going to take that and you're just going to take both, you're going to take both of them together, fold nice and narrow, iron it if you really want to line up, and then fold again. But I'm using a heavier fabric than regular cotton. Yeah. I'm at least a double D, at least. And I was like, I'm sorry, how come I go in and I get women's clothing and I cannot fit in women's clothing? I cannot fit from the waist down. I cannot fit from the waist up. It's like, you know what? Men's clothes are just designed for comfort. They're relatively loose fitting. They're not, and pockets and stuff like that. I'm not somebody who carries a purse. Now that's still just part of who I am. Like, I mean, it's just a convenience thing for me. So anyway, if you want that to be like that, just fold it over and then you will cover up all that seam. I'm using a heavier fabric, so I'm not going to do it because I will have my machine will sew through it and that's not going to be a problem, but I'm going to have a thicker seam than I want in a basic grocery bag. 1/4 inch seam, 1/8 inch seam, 1 inch seam, whatever fucking works for you. You're going to be cutting off a 2 inch by 2 inch square at the bottom. So do go down. You're going to need to be able to line up your ruler with your, you're going to be able to, you need to line up your ruler with that stitch line. So make sure you go down a little bit so you can find it and make sure that you're using it. I get dresses because, as my dad puts it, I'm shaped like 2 apples on top of each other, so always look like a sack of potatoes. Yeah, it's like, it's fucking ridiculous. It's like, I get it. Some people, you know what? I don't get it. The part that really pisses me off is I walk into the women's section, and I stopped wearing women's clothing years ago. Like, my wife still wears women's jeans and stuff like that. She doesn't wear men's clothes. But the thing is that we walk into the women's section at any time for any reason, and it's like, oh, small, medium, and large. Oh, this. Oh, your pants come in size 12, 14, 16, whatever. And it's like, then you walk over to the men's section, and it's like small, medium, and large, and but you can also check the neck size. They're already built with a little bit more space, which is fine, but the nice looking cute stuff, unless you're going to a Pennington's or a store specifically designed for bigger women, you're not getting anything. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not the kind of person that's going to spend that kind of money. And let's face it, I'm not particularly interested in looking all that feminine. So I'm not spending that kind of money to go to a place like that when men can just walk in and waist size, leg length, and just buy what they want based on that. And it's just, men don't have the same variety of options available, but they have an insane variety of sizes available. And I've been a tomboy my whole life, dressing up is not my thing. I didn't give up wearing dresses because I was sad about it. I'm like, oh, fuck this shit, right? But yeah, I really feel for women that are trying to look good, because it just doesn't. And the funny thing is, the really sad, unless you want to spend an arm and a leg, the bigger size clothes in regular shops are frumpy. It's like, and it's true. It's like, and that's just, And it's stupid. And you know what else? You know what else happens though? And I see this all the fucking time. Even the thinner, more, what's the word? Even people that are fitting into these clothes properly are still not happy with the clothes, because in order to, most of the designers are designing this for an optimal size, like 2. So it's like if you're not within these. And it's like, stop doing that shit to people. So all of your clothes are designed to look best if you're a very, very specific size, the same size as those supermodels, runway models, whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry, but like less than 0.1% of the population actually looks like that. You have an entire clothing industry designed for 6 people. It's like crazy. Anyway. It's getting a little better. It's getting a little better now that, because all these people that all the people that had so much to say when they were a size 2 are now a size 22 and going, oh. So it's like, it's getting a little better, but okay. Now I'm wondering if I should just do them all. No, I'll do one at a time. That's fine. I will do one at a time. Yeah, come for your and bag your clothes to go rescue a cat if you need to. Absolutely. But you know what? This is a funny thing. I don't know if this makes me some sort of a hypocrite or not, but it really sucks. It really sucks that I can't wear women's clothes. I don't know. I guess can't. Well, I don't wear women's clothes. They don't fit me properly. Period. And it's like, and it really sucks. It really sucks because when you look at all of the statistics, I'm pretty much right in the average of what a person my height. I don't want to say average. Like, I mean, they keep going, well, we have an obesity epidemic. And it's like, that's fine. But do I need to run around looking like shit because of it? Like, there are some women's clothes that, yeah, it's nice to have the option. And it's like, it's great for me because I don't really care, but it really sucks. It really sucks for people who don't have the option. And it's like Lisa, whenever she finds stuff that looks good on her, she not goes ham, but yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. But like I said, the really sad part is that we hear more about it when we hear more about it, go, well, I'm fat and these clothes don't fit me. And it's like, and I hope nobody's freaking out over the word fat, but we have this whole thing about, oh, well, these clothes don't fit me. Oh, that's because you're fat. And it's like, okay, fine. But what happened to why are the girls that are size 6 walking away with the same complaint? These clothes look like shit on me. These clothes look like shit because they were not designed. And yet men go in, get what they want, get back out again. They're fine. If you really, 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 really want to cover that seam, waiting until you've taken off that bottom corner will just make it a lot easier for you. You can fold it in one time. Okay. You can skip the zigzag stitching. Okay. Do a single stitch down here, then fold it in. So assume that I haven't done the zigzag stitching. Then you fold it in one time and zigzag right exactly along the edge so that you're pinning down that edge all the way down. Yeah, well, lose weight then. Yeah, whatever. I think I don't know. I mean, that's true, but I'm going to lose weight because it's basically, have you heard of Health at Every Size? There's Health at Every Size is about focusing on your health. Yeah. The thing I hate is we'll lose weight then. Yes. And so in the time it's going to take me to do that, I'm just meant to look like trash. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, we don't want you to have self-esteem until, and it's like, I'm sorry, but that's not how this shit works. And the reality is that health at every size, I don't know. I know I'm not going to say this correctly. Health at every size is this concept that we don't necessarily get to pick our size. Our body wants to be your body wants to be a certain size, period. And if you've got the genetics that let you not be fat, that's great. And if you've got the genetics that do, then you're going to be in a lifelong battle with your body. And I'll tell you right now, most of the health problems that people get that are related to their size are related to their constant binge dieting and all the horrible things that they're doing themselves in order to fight with their body. But health at every size is about focusing on the things that, like, so focusing on staying active, focusing on eating well, focusing on all of that stuff. And if you lose the weight, you lose the weight. If you don't lose the weight, you don't lose the weight. So it's about focusing on your actual health versus the physical appearance that other people think you should have. That's what I've been doing. That's what Lisa and I both do. It's like, I'm not playing games with my health so that I can look good to meet somebody else's standards. It's like, fuck that noise. And it's not just a thing. It's not just a, basically my opinion is fat phobia. What the heck's going on here? Oh, okay. My personal opinion is that fat phobia only exists because we're not allowed to be prejudiced about anything else anymore. And we got to hate something. It's like, yeah, fuck you all. Not considering the sheer number of people that are overweight. It's like, it makes no sense. I don't know. I just focus on my overall health and let my weight take care of itself. Because no one is immortal, and killing myself over my weight isn't going to somehow do good things for me. And I don't know. I get it. There are situations where you have to make a choice. But for most of us, it's just get out, start living life, and not worry so much. Focus, it's like, oh, well, it's like my doctor, oh, if you lose weight, and it's like, well, wait a second, maybe if I just stop eating sugar and if I don't lose weight, that's fine. But as long as my blood sugar goes down, I'm okay, right? Well, yeah. Okay, then that's what I'm going to do. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to the size I am in 2 weeks, so I'm not going to lose it all in 2 weeks. I'm healthier than my sister, who is the average. And I always love to see a new doctor and have them say, "Oh, it's your weight," before even examining me. They do the BP and heart rate, and I'm in a very healthy range. I used to ride a bicycle everywhere. Small town, didn't drive, didn't want to drive. Screwed up leg, right? Go to the doctor. Oh, my leg hurts. Oh, if you lose some weight. And the one day, the doctor said, "Well, you need to focus on losing some weight." And I had just ridden my bicycle like 5 miles to get there. So you do something active and your muscles like stay pumped for a while, right? So I happened to be wearing shorts. It was a hot day. So I tensed up my legs so he could see muscles. I says, "You want me to lose that?" That's when he realized that at that particular, now my weight was up, but at that particular time in my life, it was mostly muscle. And he's like, oh. It's amazing the assumptions that they make. But it's like genetics plays a huge part in your size. And if the way I look doesn't make you happy, that's just too damn bad, because it's not my problem, right? I'm going to let these sit. I'm going to do these separately and then put all the handles on last. I'll do this it's always a little bit quicker. But I don't know. Here's the thing. I've just kind of reached a point where I just don't give a shit. I just don't give a shit. Doctor says, "Oh, you need to lose weight." I'm like, Okay, so now If my weight wasn't an issue, what else would I need to be doing? Oh, well, you just got to get them to shut the, anyway. I mean, I don't know. I have a personal thing. It's like, because I've seen this in action. It's like, oh, well, I'm yeah, that's why I always tell folks that BMI has been completely discredited as a diagnostic tool. They don't use BMI anymore. They do not use BMI anymore. And yeah, I went through a period in my life where I was proof of that. Because they would say, oh, you need to lose weight. And I would just like, you know, I wasn't some like, basically for a woman, I always tended to run a little bit muscular and build up muscle easily. Muscle weighs about, what's the ratio, like 5 times more than fat or whatever. Now, I'm not going to say I haven't been the skinniest person in the room either. I don't give a shit about that. But I would walk in, sit down, the doctor would see a number on my chart and go, oh, you should lose weight. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then I like, you know, really? Really? And then they're like, oh, well, okay. And it's like, And like, I mean, I get it. I mean, most people, I did a 50K cycle last year for sepsis charity, and every single person I know told me I couldn't do it. Even family members. The girl did it. The girl I did it with was sobbing at the end. I was fine. Exactly. Here's the thing. Oh, you need to lose weight. You need to do this. You need to do that. Oh, but you can't do these things. It's like, fuck you, I can. I can absolutely do. Okay, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I've got a fucked up leg, right? I got a fucked up leg. So I'm limited on what I can do. I can't go jogging. I cannot go jogging because if I go jogging, I will jog once and then I won't be able to do it again. I wouldn't be able to do a 50K cycle. But that doesn't mean that I can't get out there and do stuff. It's like, I've never really had anybody tell me I can't do stuff. But it's amazing. You know what though? If you're fat, they're like, oh, you should be doing all this stuff. But if you're fat and you show up with a cane, because when I'm having a bad day, I walk with a cane, right? Then everything changes. It's like, oh, you have a cane. It's okay. It's okay. It's like, no, it's not. Your attitude is the fucking problem. Anyway, I'm just going to bitch for the next 2 hours now. That's all I'm going to do. But, people get weird. People get weird about shit that's none of their business. And it's like, the reason why, like, let's just call a spade a spade. The main reason why a lot of fat people don't get out there and do things is because once you hit a certain size, all the fucking idiots come out of the woodwork. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. It's like, what do you want me to do? What am I allowed to do? So I am allowed to starve myself, which will destroy your stomach. I am allowed to starve myself until I look the way you want me to look, and then I will be allowed to do the things that will actually benefit my health. Like if I want to go do a thing, I'm going to go do a thing, and I'll do as much as I want or as little as I want, right? Oh, Tammy. Tammy says, hello, everyone. Sorry I am late. I just got back from my doctor's appointment. Yay. And he said, I need to lose weight. Also crazy you all are talking about this. The funny thing is, you can't go to the doctor without him telling you that you need to do something. But yeah, this whole focus, I don't know how to describe this. Like, I mean, yeah, damn assholes. Here's the thing. If you're being told you're fat, you can't do that. Oh, if you do that, it's a problem. Or the teasing, the taunting. Oh, look at that fat chick trying to do this thing. It's like, and then it's like, why did you not cut? Oh, because I put my foot on the thing. So it's like, they're telling you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like, so basically, you know what they're advocating for? Starvation. Stop eating. It's like, I'm sorry, but no, I'm not going to starve myself. Now, I'm a diabetic. Stop eating. Your blood sugar went up on your last test, so you need to stop eating. You need to watch your sugar. Okay, I need to watch my sugar. I'm not going to stop eating. Of course, but this is true for everybody. Back when I was running to lose weight, other runners, seasoned runners, were so supportive because they could see I was trying, but the looks I'd get from other folk and the taunting from kids. Oh yeah, it's like, fuck you, buddy. You know what? I will tell you right now. Half of the people that I grew up with, because there is a genetic component, right? So half of the people I go, oh, look at that fat cow, look at that fat cow. They're all fat cows now. And I have no fucking sympathy. None whatsoever. I grew up opposite. I'll assume it's genetics that keeps me thin and fit. They don't know that I work out, eat healthy mostly, and drink water all day. Once I stop working out, I'll gain 15 pounds in weeks. Yeah. And the thing is that it seems to be this thing that once you hit a certain size, how dare you? How dare you be in my space existing because you're fat? But it's like the only option I have to get into your space without you being an asshole about it is to starve myself. And that just leads to problems, absolute problems. There is a book by Linda Bacon, Dr. Linda Bacon, called Health at Every Size. Now, this is the thing. Fat positivity is important. Ending the fat shaming is important. But what's also important is to recognize that our health matters more than the number on the scale. And this idea that being fat somehow obligates you to be contrite, ashamed, embarrassed is ridiculous. It's like, you know what? I can love me for me and still go, well, I might do better if I lose a few pounds, but I'm allowed to love myself anyway, no matter what kind of a fuckwit opinion you have about it. You know what I mean? And it's funny that, and what I will say, and you know who I feel really bad about? I feel really sorry. I want to express this. I want to, in Scotland we say dinner. Oh, like, yeah, I get fed and you dinner. Yeah. And now I looked at it myself and I'm like, oh my God, really? I've never noticed. I'm naturally extremely thin, but most members of my family are naturally larger. Nothing wrong with our bodies. We just have a different baseline for our bodies and what weight naturally comes on. I can't stand people who pick on others for weight. So ridiculous and shallow. And you know what else? And this is now, as a thin person, you may experience this and you may hear this. But one thing that I've found, okay, we all have this based on our own thing, right? But these same people that made all the fat jokes back where I come from, who then became fat themselves, lived in utter fucking terror of gaining weight. And this is another byproduct. Like, I'm already fat. I don't need to be scared of shit anymore, right? It's like, if I lose weight, I lose weight. If I don't lose weight, I don't lose weight. As long as I am focusing on my health. So it's like, I'm not going to starve myself to meet somebody else's standard of beauty, because I don't give a shit about that sort of stuff. But I will say that inside every thin person is somebody who is scared to death of becoming a fat person. And that sounds, you're getting me worked up. Well, I'm already worked up as I pay for the bills, oh, I'm sorry, Blue. No, it's kind of, I don't give a shit. I really don't. It's like, I've met way too many people. It's like, how I look is nobody's business but my own and my wife's. As long as she likes what she sees, I don't care. But it's funny. They talk about depression causing, they talk about the causes, and they don't. Why did I start cutting that one when I didn't do that one? I said I was going to do them all separately. I don't know what the fuck I was doing anymore. But it's interesting because and I'll tell you right now, it's a woman-centric problem. Woman-centric problem. We either feel like shit. We either feel like, or people try to make us feel like shit because we're fat, or we feel like shit, or people try to make us feel like shit. Or you should be eating that. You don't want to gain weight. Like, so no matter what size we actually are. And this is the thing. I'm the fat person in the room, so I tend to focus on that. And that's fine. We all speak from our own perspective, right? But the reality is that the biggest thing that we have the biggest issue that we have in our society right now is that this is a woman-centric problem. Sorry for any guys who happen to be hanging out, but guys do get treated like shit over their weight. I'm not pretending that this does not happen to men. It absolutely does. It happens differently. And I'm not a man, so I don't have the experience to be. I want to be sensitive to the fact that men experience this as well, but they don't experience this. For women, it's culturally embedded. It's culturally embedded. We do not have magazines coming out with 10. There's no such thing as homophobia. A phobia is a fear. They're not scared. They're just assholes. Yeah. Thing is that this is a woman-centric problem. It's like we do this thing, and I don't know what to call it, but we do this thing where, like I said, we're either fat and desperate to do something about it, or we're thin and terrified that we might become fat, or we're underweight. Gotta love that one. Go eat a burger. It's like, okay, whatever, but I'm hungry too, so I'm coming with you, right? It's like, whatever. But no, we live in abject terror. We live in abject terror of we're afraid of how we look. We're terrified of how we look as women. And it's like, that makes no fucking sense. We need to stop being scared. We need to stop being afraid of that and start going, well, I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm okay. 20 of us are going to meet up and go hang out, go walk around. Like, okay, here's a good example. We're going to get together and go walk around the racetrack that's out there. We have a park just down the street, and there's a racetrack that's attached to the school that's beside the park, and people go out there to walk around the track every day. All shapes, all sizes, blah, 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 right? No problem. Some people are walking, some people are jogging, some people got their dogs with them. Yeah, when I lost weight, all I did was think about food. Even now, I don't eat a lot. I eat small portions, but what I eat is junk, and I'm happy to admit that. Sorry, but I like cake. Oh, I love my junk food. My sugar. I'm a type 2 diabetic now, because, and of course, it's like, oh, it's because you eat sugar, and it's like, no, it's not. It's because menopause can cause type 2 diabetes. We've been brainwashed with all these social norms and constructs of what people should be or should look like, and now everyone feels scared to not fit in the idealistic box. And this is the thing. This is why fashion models die of fucking anorexia. This is not, by the way, because I almost just did this, I'm distracted, right? I am distracted right now because this is ironed and fitting together so well. I almost went like that, which would have sewn the top shut. So keep that in mind. If you have to double check where your thing is, don't feel like you've done something. If you're double checking on where your seam, your side seam is, or where your bottom is, don't feel like you're doing something completely horribly wrong. And if for some reason it's just a fucking grocery bag, this one can be 3 inches. This one could be an inch taller than everything else. Here's the thing. Back in the day, like, okay, we're gonna go 1800s. No, I'm going to go back to my walking. I'm going to go back to so we get together a group of 20 people, and we're going to go down to that track that I mentioned, and we're going to walk around that track. I got a fucked up leg. I am not going to bitch you out if you don't slow down for my benefit. I'm not going to bitch you out if you decide that you're going to, if you're going to run. I'm not going to bitch you out for any of that. What I'm going to bitch you out for, if you go, Peggy, keep up. My God, you're trying to lose weight here. Fuck you. I'm trying to be healthy. That's me. That is me, and that is my personal opinion. I don't want to speak for anybody else. But what we do as women is we live in a society where women are expected to compete with each other. Who can be the thinnest? Who can be the prettiest? Who can get the richest husband? Who can do this? Who can do that? And I was like, and I get it. I get it. Some of us are more physically, genetically blessed than others, whatever. But I'll tell you right now, even if you're running life on hard mode, there is somebody out there who thinks you are the most amazing fucking person that they have ever met. The most beautiful, the smartest. There is somebody out there. And the idea that if you don't fit the stereotype, therefore you are obligated to be alone and lonely. You shouldn't be seen in public. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Is ridiculous. It's fucking crazy. And I will tell you right now. Okay, like, do you have any idea? Now, it's not so bad. It's not so bad now. It's not so bad now that I'm a little older. The person is beneath the skin. And I will tell you right now, I have met some incredibly physically beautiful people who are so ugly on the inside that it's insane. But we are living in a society where we are supposed to celebrate the physical. We're supposed to celebrate a person's ability to fit into this very, very specific physical appearances only thing. My 9-year-old daughter always says, "You're beautiful." Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you right now, beautiful on the inside is the most sexy thing in the fucking world. I've met what's the word? Stereotypically beautiful. I've met plenty of people that fit that tick that box. Can't fucking stand them. Not because, and I've met people who tick that box that are some of the most amazing people I've ever met. Looks is a bonus. It's not the one. Looks is a bonus. It's not the benchmark. It's not. It just isn't. Oh, I love your daughter. I love your daughter. Do you have any idea, looking the way I do, how often men used to come on to me? Now, I'm not calling myself attractive. I'm not calling myself unattractive. We're not going there. That is not what this conversation is about. I don't look. I do not have, I'm running around in men's clothes. I've had a crew cut for my hair has looked like this for 20 years now. I wear men's clothes. I'm like, do. I look butch. I look gay. And these men are like, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing? What's new today?" When I was still working and taking transit a lot, right? You're just hanging around, you're chatting with people. It's like, "Oh, I love meeting women like you, blah, blah, blah." Like, "Oh, I'm married." Like, "Oh, that's too bad because, I was really hoping to get your number." Men are attracted to who they're attracted to. They're attracted to the person first. I'm saying it all fucked up. Because God knows that's all I do. Whenever I'm doing these kind of, whenever I get on my little fucking tangents, I'm always going to say it all fucked up. The thing is that your personality, your attitude, and the way you approach life, especially in a heterosexual environment, that came out shitty, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to attract men. Okay. Men love personality, confidence, attitude. They love that. Men will walk past a fashion model to get to somebody who they can relate to. And yes, men will fuck a fashion model, but they won't marry them. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not bringing the personality to go along with it, but this idea that we must be a certain weight, and of course, like, here's the thing. There's money to be made. Bariatric surgery is like, I saw a thing recently, and I'm not crapping on anybody who's had it or who's considering it. That's not the conversation here. But the thing is that bariatric surgery, the United States, first and foremost, is a medicine for profit system. Not shitting on you guys in the States, but that is the truth behind your medical system, right? And you're starting to bring in some socialized healthcare, but weight loss surgeries and stuff like that are a highly profitable venture for the doctors that are doing it. So yeah, we've got this woman, we've got this competitive environment that's being, attract those men by losing, lose 20 pounds and attract that man. It's like, well, be a better person and attract him anyway. But Jenny Craig, multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read somewhere that McDonald's owns Jenny Craig. So there's a thing right there. But so we have this environment where women are meant to compete with each other to fit a standard that we're made to compete with each other to fit a standard that most men could fucking care less about. And then we're like, oh, depression causes obesity. And it's like, no. Well, okay, it can. But you know what makes it worse is having one bad day and the torment and humiliation that comes from other people is what causes a big piece of that depression. But there's money to be made in selling people. There's money to be made. There's money to be made in weight loss surgery. Next time you're at the supermarket, go take a look at all those magazines. Lose 10 pounds, get fit, get your bikini body back, do this, do that. And then on the last page, here's a chocolate cake recipe. There's a recipe for there's this recipe for this really healthy health food thing, right? Half of that. Okay, this is something I learned because I don't pay attention to that shit. I don't care, right? One of the things that I learned, most of the health food stuff that you see on these magazines, I can't eat any of it. We actually look, not because we care. It's like, well, let's see. Maybe it's like, okay, well, they're saying this is healthy. Let's see. So we check, right? Oh, this is so healthy. It has fresh whatever in it, and so many fucking calories, so much sugar in it. Oh, just add 3 cups of honey, right? Can't eat it. Half of our media is telling us that we need to lose weight, and the other half of our media is undermining it. But the thing is, the biggest thing is that it's become women versus women. It really has. And it's shitty. Like if I'm in an environment and there's a bunch of women there and we're doing something, it's like, yeah, everybody's awesome. This is great. And there's always somebody, but yeah, like as a fat person, we're told that we should feel a certain way, right? But as a thin person, we're told we should live in abject fear of ever becoming a fat person. And that's an even bigger part of the problem, because I don't know how to express this. I am just babbling, and I know that I'm making incomplete points and shit. So I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but yeah, 0 calories, no added sugar. And then you look and it's like honey. It's like, okay, but no, like we live in fear. I want to say this the right way, because most of us that are fat people, and I don't want to speak for anybody, but when I was a kid in high school, I had the exact same body measurements as Marilyn Monroe. And I always tell this story because it's like, I had the exact same measurements as Marilyn Monroe, and yet my mom, because she's a wonderful person, would say, oh, you should probably lose a few pounds. It's like, whatever. I have the exact same body dimensions as Marilyn Monroe, but you're trying to make me think I'm fat. It's like, okay, way to compete there, Mom. But anyway, most of the fat people most people who are fat now were not fat when they were younger. But what they were was terrified of becoming fat. Oh, if I get fat, I'll kill myself. If I get fat, I would be so depressed. I would feel so bad. So we spend the first half of our life indoctrinating ourselves into what being fat means. And then when we get fat, it becomes not a self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of, oh, you gained weight. a self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of I feel bad, I feel horrible, I feel like this, I feel like that. I feel like I can't do anything about it. Yeah, no added sugar. Half of that, if it says, I'll tell you right now, if it says no added sugar, it's either naturally super sweet and I can't have it, or it's problematic for one reason or another. But anyway, I'm babbling on All About Weight. There is a book by Dr. Linda Bacon. It's been around for a while. It's called Health at Every Size. And I will tell you right now, that book is a game changer when you look at it. I'm just trying to get a nice, well, I'm off to the side here. You guys can't see shit. I'm just trying to get a nice little crease here. I folded my bag in half. Got a nice little crease. I'm going to mark both sides this time, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 and a half. Honestly, where you put your handles is entirely up to you. This is an 18-inch wide bag. I go 3.5 inches out on each side from the center. Make it a little long so I can find it when I'm. Don't forget, this is a friction marker. It comes off, and then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do the same on the back, but I'm going to cheat. I didn't let it shift, so I'm just going to fold that like that. It may not line up perfectly, but I don't care. It's just a grocery bag. Grocery bags are a great opportunity to get lots and lots of practice about lining your measurements up properly, getting a little bit of confidence, getting practice with those seams and all the stuff. Yeah, no added sugar and no sugar are two different things. I had to explain that to my ex. Yeah, no, it's fucking crazy. It's like no added, or reduced sugar. Oh, we've reduced the amount of sugar in this product. That's awesome. How much sugar did it have to begin with? Because most of the time, reduced sugar, it used to have 30 grams of sugar and now it has 29. I will tell you right now, the biggest problem, the biggest contributor. I don't know how. I eat way too much junk food too. So, but the biggest contributor is all this, make it simple, make it easy, and make it cheap and make it sugary and fatty. And I always try to keep a bag of apples in the house. Because I do have to watch. I mean, I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to watch my sugar, right? But if I have lost weight, actually, I lost 10 pounds over the last year and a half, I think it is. So I did lose some weight, but that's probably got more to do with the medication that I'm on. One of my medications, I'm a really healthy person. I only take 5 or 6 pills a day. I don't give a shit. I'm turning 60 this year. The fact that I'm living a very normal life and only take a couple of meds is pretty good at my age. So for my age, I'm doing really well. But no, the biggest contributor to this whole fucking problem is the shitty things we do to ourselves and each other because we are just, I don't know, competing. I don't think we intend to compete. And I don't think anybody's directly competing, but this whole idea that certain, if A, B, and C are true, then you must be horrible. Something horrible is, we're dumb. Humans are dumb. We're dumb. I mean, we need to though all of those fashion magazines, we need to ban that shit. We need to take that shit and just get it out of the stores. It's like, if somebody wants to look a certain way, that's great, but we shouldn't have a multi-billion-dollar industry wrapped up in convincing women that there's something wrong with them if that's not their one and only goal. And I will tell you right now, I want to be remembered when I finally die, because we're all good, nobody's immortal. I want to be remembered as the person who did this, the person who did that. I don't want to, I don't want I do not want the most significant. Oh, she was so healthy. Because she was not healthy, but she lost weight. That makes her healthy. I do not want to be remembered for buying into that shit. I want to be remembered for who I am, not my dress size. You know? It's like, oh yeah, she's this mouthy bitch. She goes on YouTube, rambles about shit, mouths off a little, sews some stuff. That's what I want to be remembered for. Oh, went back too far. Don't care, just a bag. Hi, Jenna. We are bitching about bitching today because we are just in a mood. My leg hurts. I'm bitchy. It's fine. Yeah, I have a mini version. This is a mini version of what I was talking about when you've got one seam and then it's folded over on itself. And if it gets too thick and heavy, yeah, my machine doesn't want to climb up over that hill right now, right? So if you're working with really, really heavy fabrics and your machine just can't climb over that hill, you just bring your needle up, lift your foot up, slide it forward a little bit to get it over that hill, go down, a couple of stitches, bring it up, get back behind it again, and just go back and forth a few times, little tiny bit. These bags are not going on Etsy. These are just general purpose shopping bags that I'm making, and I'm not trying very hard at all. There's exposed seams everywhere. They're just generic, but I wanted to come on and chit chat. Apparently, I wanted to come on and find something to bitch about. Is what I did. Yeah, aspartame gives me headaches, so diet drinks give me a headache. I drink water, milk, lemonade, or tea. Milk, surprisingly, has an amazing. Surprisingly, milk has a lot of sugar in it. And again, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in losing weight. I'm interested in keeping my blood sugar down because of the. I don't want. Basically, it turns out, and you can go look this up. There's like they've recently realized there's about not recently, but the last 8 or 9 years. They realize that there's like 5 or 6 different kinds of diabetes. And the most common one that women experience happens because of menopause, not because of their weight, because of menopause. And guess when I became diabetic? Menopause. I became diabetic during menopause. And I also became hypertension, high blood pressure. That also developed during menopause. And menopause is one of the key indicators of menopause is one of the key times when if you're going to develop hypertension, it's one of the most common times for women to develop hypertension. But according to my doctor, I need to lose weight and that will fix it. And it's like, I'm sorry, it's not going to take me out of menopause. It's not going to undo the thing that caused it. Anyway, babbling. These are really simple bags. These are really simple, basic bags. Anybody can make them. But I think, and like I said, I do not know how to express this in a way that makes sense. But I think, honestly, this is going to sound really fucked up. Not fucked up. It's not going to sound fucked up. But it's going to sound differently judgmental. But I think the people with the biggest problem are thinner women, because as a person, as a me, it's like I like who I am, and I've come to terms with my weight, or I've come to terms with it, and that's fine. But women who are thinner are taught that they should be terrified of getting bigger. And I don't live in terror anymore. I've come to terms with it. It's like, I never lived in terror then. I was never, it's like, oh, well, once I have a couple of kids, I'm probably going to gain some weight. Okay, that's fine. And I'm just going to flip this right here and just do it without bothering to turn the whole bag over. But I've watched kids in high, and this is like going back 40 years. This is not a brand new problem. I do think that this low-key terror, it's the only way to describe it, but this low-key shit, this low-key terror that skinny girls are experiencing because they're so terrified of becoming fat girls, I think it really plays a lot into their shitty behavior around it. Have you guys ever heard the term internalized homophobia? Internalized homophobia is where a person who is gay, but not ready to admit it even to themselves yet, behaves in a way that's very, very homophobic. And then because they're in denial of their own situation. And then years and years later, they finally realize, and then they come out, right? And I do think that we have internalized fatness. I don't know what the word is. Internalized, because I will tell you right now, and I can say this on the other side of 20, well on the other side of 20, I can say this, that the people that I knew that were the most shitty about weight are now some of the fattest people that I know. And it's like, oh, because like, let's face it, if you like studies have proven that after having kids, most women gain some weight, right? Studies have proven that as you reach a certain age, you're probably going to gain a few pounds. So these same women, oh, that's mine. I'm trying to pick off this loose thread, and it's like, oh no, that's just my ink mark. But I feel, I think people I think the girls, young girls and young women who are in that situation, they're the most likely to perpetuate fat shaming. And the ones that are engaging in it the most, from my personal observed experience, were the ones who had the biggest problem. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I have this, whenever these types of comments come up and you start comparing people who are overweight with people who are normal weight or whatever, it's like, oh, you must be jealous, you must be this, you must be that. And it's like, dude, I don't give a shit. I love psychology. I love Psych 101. Lisa, I call it Psych 101. It's like, oh, why would somebody do this? Why would somebody do that? And it's like, well, wait a second. It's like, well, the people, and like I said, you look at internalized homophobia, and you see the exact same thing. You see the exact same thing of these gay people. And I mean, I'm trying to think back. I probably experienced a bit of internalized homophobia too. I didn't come out till I was 40, right? So people would start saying shitty things about gay people. I'm like, okay. Like, I wouldn't join in, but I certainly wouldn't stand up for it either. I'm just like, I'm staying out of this shit. I knew I was a little bit by the time I was 18. So yeah, I kept my mouth shut, but you know, years and years later, oh, I didn't know you were gay. You didn't seem gay at the time. Yeah, being smaller doesn't make you healthier. You know what it is? Okay, the number one thing that I will point out is that no one is fucking immortal. I am not going to live to be 150 if I lose weight. So what I want to focus on is there's one done. I'm just attaching the handles now. Yeah, oh, it's already zoomed. It's zoomed out. There we go. So that's number two. Yeah, this is the putting the handles on goes really well if you take off the tray and then this is without the tray, so you can just circle your bag all the way around. You don't have to take off the arm. If your arm doesn't come off, you do not have to take it off. It's just a little bit oh, thanks. Yeah, this is just, let me just give you a rundown. This is just half yard of fabric, 18 inches, and then you fold it in half and cut. You fold it in half so that you're going to do both sides at the same time. 36 inches. So you fold it in half and then measure 18 inches, cut that off. And then the pieces that you cut off at the end becomes the handles. So the two edges, box, and you don't have to box the bottom. If you are doing one of these bags to have as a backup, if you don't box the bottom, then you get a much flatter bag, and it's easier to fold it up and throw it into a bigger bag. I see people that just don't bother boxing the bottom, but the bottom has been boxed to square it off, to make it more square at the bottom. And now I have a basic grocery bag. And because the cheap grocery bags, yeah, see, just make it nice and flat, nice flat bottom now. So yeah, it's a nice cheap, it's a nice down and dirty. It's $4.22 now. That's not bad. Now I try to say this is not this. I would probably have gotten a little further along. Not sure by how much, but I would have gotten further along if I hadn't been chatting so much. But I prefer chatting. I prefer chatting. But no, when you look at internalized homophobia, it's a really great. I'm just making sure that this is really easy to spot, because I'm not going to iron it. But you fold it in half, and when you fold it back out, you get this little, it's very light. Let's see if I can get in here. It's a very light crease. Yeah, you can see it. You can barely see it. It's right there. Because I'm not doing anything with that crease except for measuring. And then I go 3.5 inches out from the center. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3. Wait a second. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. 3.5 inches up in the center. This is a great. If do you sew, Jada? If you're into sewing, this is a great beginner project, because if you fuck it up, who cares? You're just hauling around some groceries in it. And then you just flip it over. And the crease is still visible. Like I said, you're not doing anything with the crease except for finding a spot to measure from. A couple different ways to do it. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. But if you look up internalized homophobia, you're gonna now. This is my personal belief, is that the exact same psychology that causes internalized homophobia in gay people who are in denial about who they are, is the exact same thinking that makes these people become fat phobic and shitty. Oh, thanks. And I think it's the exact same psychology behind it. And it's like, but the reality is okay, people who engage in internalized homophobia and then come out later, they have a really hard time of it. Because of course, like, okay, say you're in Smallville. Say you're living in Smallville and you've been an absolute piece of shit about it. You tormented the gay kid in your high school, whatever, and then you eventually come out. Well, you're not coming out in the best of environments, right? You're not coming out in the kind of environment that people are going, wow, yay, oh, this is awesome that you were one of the shitty people in life. So even if you're in an environment where nobody knows you and knows that that's what you were like, you're always afraid that they're going to find out. So even though you're out of the closet, you're still in a different closet, right? So now this, I'm not measuring. I've already done a couple of these, so I didn't pull the camera back in. I'm just doing these to whatever makes sense for me. I'm not measuring or ironing any of this part because I don't have to. But if you're trying to practice new skills, then this is a good time to do that, because you can do all your measuring, do all your stuff. Oh, but no, I do think that's done a lot. I think that's done a lot of good for me to form that opinion around other aspects of living, right? Like, oh, well, I've got a fucked up knee. Why am I not doing something about it? I'm fat. Why am I not doing something about it? It's like, oh, because I don't fucking have to. I don't have to. I do not owe. And here's the thing. I don't owe you my mental health. Period. I don't owe that to anybody. I have no obligation to feel like shit because I am not adhering to your standards. And the funny thing is that don't know how to describe this, but I do not know how to describe this, but there's a certain I don't give a shit that creeps in. And then suddenly, and I'm the first to admit I didn't have to deal with much because I've always been that fuck you, like just get the fuck away from me. I've always been that kind of personality to begin with. I've never been in a fight, never anything, never any of that kind of bullshit. But I've also never taken a lot of shit. And even when I'm like, oh man, I just don't want to deal with this shit, I still look like somebody who's like just ready to get into some shit, right? But anyway, no, I'm not gonna bully you because you're fat. I'm gonna bully you into not giving a shit if you're fat. Okay. That's me. I'm the counter bully. I'm like, well, no, you're not going to do that. I'm going to bully you. I'm going to bully you until you feel better about yourself. Aren't I just a fucking ray of sunshine here? No wonder Nanaby sent me that fabric. God. Anyway. No, I mean, if you ever want to, I think we all seem to hit on a aha moment. We all hit 30. I now have an attitude. If you're talking about me, bullying me, you're leaving somebody else alone. You know what? I have an attitude of I don't give a shit about you. I mean, I look at somebody in their 30s going, oh wow, let me just put it back on there. I look at some young person going, oh blah blah blah, look at that fat cow, and I'm like, dude, wait till you pop out a kid, because men don't talk. Okay, men do talk like this, but most of them don't. It is way less common among men to be dealing with this shit than it is for women. Women who talk like that, it's like, oh, you better hope that life is good to you if you ever decide to have a fucking kid, because most women begin their journey of obesity after having babies. It's incredibly common, right? And I worked with this one girl. She was a personal trainer. Bit of a story there. She used to be a personal trainer, exercising for 4 hours a day, worrying about her weight, blah, 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 blah. And she's working with us at a basic admin job. And she was like really, really open about just how fucked up her life was because of the things that she was doing to stay thin. And she's like, oh yeah, I was terrified of getting fat. So I would take laxatives. I would exercise for 4 or 5 hours a day, take laxatives on the regular to make sure that if I ate the wrong foods, I would take laxatives to make sure it would get through me quicker, yada, 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 doing all this stuff. Her stomach, because of all of her, cleanses and detoxes, always doing something. And now she's like, I can't gain weight even if I want to. My health is shot because lack of nutrition fucks you up. It's like I was always worrying about the number on the scale and not about my actual health. So I've got different, not nutritional. I forget just exactly what she said it was, but if you don't have any vitamin D in your life, you can expect osteoporosis and stuff like that, right? So she's like, yeah. So exercising 4 or 5 times a day. I'm stupid squirrel. Exercising 4 or 5 hours a day. Plus on top of being a personal trainer, when she wasn't training somebody else, she was exercising, and that was her day in and day out. So she's like, yeah, so basically the damage from that, the physical damage of just the overwork, the overstressing of muscles, joints, whatever, she's always in pain. This woman, she was gorgeous. She was very, very classically good looking. And she was incredibly unhappy. She could eat yogurt, and that was about it. Yeah, I was at my thinnest before becoming pregnant. I'm bigger now than I was while I was pregnant, but being pregnant literally broke my pelvis, and now I've got back pain too. Pregnancy is a killer. Well, yeah. Well, you know what? Pregnancy does its own thing, and yeah, if you suffer issues during pregnancy, but yeah, you basically, your body changes, and then menopause changes it, aging changes it, general wear and tear changes it. And these people that are running around in their 20s going, oh, if I ever look like that, kill me. They're indoctrinating themselves into what they think they should look like at 30, 40, 50. And they are going to have the shittiest mental health imaginable if they ever. When I was young, I knew just by looking at, I looked just like my mom, just like her. I look so much like my mom that my one aunt came over to visit one day and mistook me for my mom. She's like, "Oh my God." Like, my mom was so fucking offended. Yeah. Oh yeah. She couldn't eat. She could not eat. Her stomach was such a fucking mess between diet pills, laxatives, and all the other, because you can't be a personal trainer if you look fat, right? So she was constantly in a panic to never gain an ounce. Ruined her stomach. She said she constantly felt nauseous. Like she was an extreme case, but no. Like I knew from a young age, hey, if I ever have kids, I'm probably going to gain some weight. That's probably going to be me. And that was just, that was what all the British background, white European people in my town looked like after a couple of kids anyway. So it's like, okay, whatever. That's what I'm going to give. Couple of kids looks like. But yeah, the girls that were doing the most to be shitty about people who gain weight were the ones that were the absolute unhappiest once they had their first couple of kids. It's like, I had no fucking sympathy. Nope, fuck you. But, and like I said, there's nothing, we should not be giving a shit whether somebody is too big or too small. We shouldn't, because I'll tell you right now, I've seen more than enough thin people sitting at a restaurant, want to order dinner, and I was like, "Are you sure? Do you really want to risk it?" It's like, what? It's not a fucking bomb. What the fuck's wrong with you? Anyway, I could bitch. Yeah, I'm just in a bitching mood. I'm just gonna bitch about shit all day, apparently. Okay, that one's done. I'm just reinforcing the handles. I've already been doing that all day. I'm not agonizing too much about cutting my stitches, cutting my excess thread perfectly or anything like that, because I'm going to wash these. These have been sitting in my stash sent me a message one day on Facebook. Wait. I used to like this guy in school who was always really thin. His friends used to bully me because of my weight, and he'd join in, but I knew he didn't like doing it. He's now really chunky. And he sent me a message one day on Facebook to apologize to me for joining in. Yeah, exactly. It's like, because peer pressure is a fucking horrible thing. Peer pressure is a fucking disease. It really is. Is it going to go this time? No, it's not. God. One of the byproducts of, it's okay. Nothing's stuck. I'm just taking my time. One of the byproducts of quilting is a lot of dust gets just all up in everything. I had a big wad of dust that got caught up in the little mechanics here that makes the needle threader, and I probably need to go. I have not had this professionally cleaned since I got it, so it's probably overdue anyway, but my needle threader doesn't work anymore, and it's making me sad. No, it's a thing. Like, but it's, you know what? And again, go look up studies on internalized homophobia. Hey, baby, practical wifey things. What do you need now? Look at this. So she shows up. I want something. My leg still hurts. You're in charge of dinner unless we're fending. We have a rule. I have a rule. My leg is fucked up. I can do this. I can do this because I can just get up and walk away. I can go, okay, leg hurts, gonna go chill, do whatever now, right? But I'm not gonna go like start a meal or do something where I'm standing at the stove, because if you can't walk away, I'm not gonna start something that I can't walk away from. You're streaming at 6. Shit. I love you so much. You're on your own. You're on your own unless you want like something simple like a noodle soup. Yeah, bring something home. Don't bring me a pop. I totally forgot Don't bring me anything to drink. I totally forgot, and I have some pop here that I already have open. Just bring me like, I don't know. Bring me a McDouble and a fillet of fish. There, or dinner's taken care of. I'm bitching about fat people. Now she's like, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with you? What'd you do this time? But no, I don't know. Okay. Life is easier. Life would be due to the current social morals of our society. Life would be easier if for anybody who was thinner. But I will say that even that comes with its own thing, which is actually really sad. And like I said, I'm probably, well, I have to quit by 6, but the part that really like bothers me, which I've mentioned a whole bunch of times, the part that really bothers me is how it's most often women treating other women this way. Guys are really simple. Okay, boys are different. Young guys are different, but older guys are like, somebody says something shitty and it's like, fuck you, buddy, unless it's like, there are ways to make guys shut up, and older guys are usually older guys usually get over their shit and just start keeping their mouth shut. But women, oh my God, we raise our girls to be terrified of this. We raise our girls to treat each other like shit over it. I really hope that stops, but it's really, I don't know. I guess not really sad because like I said, I've met so many people. We've all met people. I've met people. You've met people. But yeah, if you ever like, oh, I'm feeling a little down about my weight, just contact me. It's like, stop doing that. I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't knock that shit off. But I'm supportive that way. Just ask my wife. No, it's funny. I tried dieting exactly once when I was young, and I did not like it. I lost 10 pounds, and I actually felt like shit because the 10 pounds that I tried to lose, I was already a normal weight. So I was already at a normal weight. So the only weight for me to lose was muscle mass. So I went from 130 down to 120, which when you only weigh 130 pounds to begin with is a lot of weight to lose. I was like, oh my God, I feel like shit. This does not feel good. Why the fuck am I doing this? So that was the end of that. Never did it again. But yeah, Health at Every Size. Health at Every Size is a book to read because it also talks about our bodies are designed. Our bodies are, because a lot of times when we're trying to lose weight, we're fighting against our own bodies. We're fighting against our own biology. Biologically speaking, we are designed to retain and hold as much weight as we can so that we can survive the next famine, because that is the biology of human evolution. Oh yeah, I was about 130 for the longest time. Went down to 120 because my cousins were dying, and why shouldn't I? Blah blah blah. I was like, oh, I don't feel good. Fuck this shit. Stop. My cousin, she went on a diet when she was 130 pounds to get back down to 110. She was 5'7". Hi, Moira. She was 5'7". It's like, oh, okay then. But no, now my personal opinion, again, I'm not the actual doctor / researcher. My personal opinion is a lot of things that happens to people who try to diet. I'm not shitting on dieting. I look at my photos of myself from school, and even in my early 20s, I'm 36 and I always thought I was fat. I wish I was that fat now. Exactly. It's like I look at pictures of myself back from when I was that young, and I'm like, why did anybody ever in their right fucking mind believe that I needed to lose any weight at all? That's just fucking ridiculous. And it's like, and of course, I'm not going to lie. Like, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, oh, it'd be nice if I was a little thinner, but it's not going to change who I am. It's not going to change anything about me or my personality. And I certainly am not willing to fuck with my health to do it. But from a biological perspective, and this is the part that we don't, this is the part that science wants to pretend doesn't exist. I think I'm closing in on that too. Thing is, though, is that we are literally biologically designed to gain as much weight as possible so that because physiologically, we are no different now than we were 7,000 years ago when we were just coming off the savannas and learning to farm. Our physiology hasn't really changed. So we are biologically designed for seasonal living, feast and famine. We're designed for it. So you can do this with any animal now. You give it an unlimited food supply and it's going to get fat because they're biologically designed to store calories. Hi, Tammy. They're biologically designed to store calories. Or is that Tammy saying hi to Moira? I don't know who's coming and going right now, but we're biologically designed for this. So when we are, and again, Dr. Linda Bacon, Health at Every Size. She discusses this far more intelligently than I'm doing right now. But this is something that basically she's taken a lot of stuff that we already know, puts it together, talks about it. This is an older book. It's got to have been out for like 10 years now. So it's not new. But thing is that we are biologically designed for feast and famine. So we go on a diet. Well, our biology, our hindbrain, the lizard brain that we have no fucking control over says, oh, we're in a starvation cycle. We're in a famine cycle. And then you lose weight and your body goes, oh, we didn't do very well. We ended up with, your body wants to end the famine cycle at its set point, at its optimum peak survival rate. So it's like, I need to, in order to have the best chance for survival, this is your hindbrain, this is the lizard brain going, hey, in order to have your best chance for survival, when the famine ends, you need to weigh this much. And you weighed less than that. So we're going to make your body even more efficient at storing fat. That's what your hindbrain, that's what your lizard brain does for you. So that, because the next famine that comes, you need to survive it. Oh, the junk food and booze cycle certainly doesn't help, right? But that's another survival. But okay, the booze, I don't know about the booze, but the junk food, you know that we are biologically designed to crave the shit that's in junk food, sugar, fat, and carbs. Because the lizard brain wants us to survive the next famine. So when we diet, we are introducing a famine cycle into our bodies. And our lizard brain is going, well, we're not doing so shit hot. So the next time around, we better, and your metabolism will literally change. Your lizard brain will switch up your metabolism so that you can do a better job of storing fat. So then you're off the diet because you didn't engage in a lifestyle. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that you can eat too little and be fat. My dad used to argue with me when he started eating proper meals, he lost weight. Exactly. Because the thing is, if you eat too little, you can be fat because your lizard brain goes, oh, we better get more efficient at storing fat. Period. End stop. That's what it's all about. Your lizard brain is going, well, because what happens is you go on a diet, you lose some weight. Lizard brain sees that as starvation. Not getting enough calories. That's why we're losing weight. Better fix that. So your body, your hindbrain, hey, this is the last bag. I'm almost done. So your lizard brain fixes that by switching up your metabolism and making you way more efficient at storing fat. Eating healthy is way better than dieting. Way better. So what happens is, oh no, I only remember that one once. We got to go back to that one again. So what happens is, and this is all happening in a way that we can't control. We cannot control our metabolism. Like, okay, you can take medications that impact, you can take medications and do that. Well, doesn't Big Pharma just love you for that? But so the thing is that you go on a diet, and this is called set points. You go on a diet, you lose a bunch of weight. And then lizard brain goes, well, that's not, the lizard brain goes, losing weight could mean starvation on the next cycle. Don't forget, seasonal cycle, right? So lizard brain makes you more efficient at storing fat and makes you crave fat generating foods more. It's like, well, you can't, we're not only are we going to make you more efficient at storing fat, but we're going to make you crave all this shit that guarantees fat production. So the potato chips, the chocolate bars, we're going to make you crave that shit. And so there you go. So then you're off your diet. You're off your diet. Lizard brain is unhappy. You're craving all the shit that you've been trying to avoid. And then suddenly you're bigger than what you were before. So then you go on a bigger, badder, better diet. Yeah, nobody ever said I'm craving broccoli. Exactly. So you go on to a bigger, badder, better diet. Lose that weight all over again. Yeah, unless you're my weirdo daughter. But this is the thing. You go on that diet. You lose weight again. Lizard brain goes, okay. So you're not doing so shit hot. You didn't. It's like, oh, well, you had another starvation cycle. So I guess we better lower that. Lower high metabolism burns fat. We better lower your metabolism. So now you've got you're dieting. You're doing this. You've got less energy because your lizard brain wants you to eat and rest, and that's it. So your motivation is out the window. Your energy is out the window. Everything's out the fucking window. Everything is out the window because your lizard brain doesn't care if you're happy about surviving as long as you survive. And your lizard brain does not recognize that you are no longer on the fucking savannah trying to hunt elephants anymore or whatever it is that your ancestors survived on. So your lizard brain is going, we are having a starvation cycle, and the last one didn't end so well because so your lizard brain lowers your metabolism, lowers your energy level, does all the things. Your lizard brain wants you to sit on the couch eating potato chips all day is basically what happens. And then all those outward societal factors that I've been bitching about for the last hour and a half pops up. So now those are, by the way, I'm not going to do it, but if you're doing a bag like this, right, make one of your handles an extra like 3 inches, go like that, then sew it down. If I do this now, then the bags are going to have unequal sized handles, right? These handles hold up really well because when I sewed it in, I sewed it in here, I reinforced it, right? And now I'm flipping it up. I am flipping it up. And I'm also having a fucking hard time here and reinforcing it again. So these do really, really well. Basically, this is about the same size as a regular generic grocery store bag. And as long as you're only filling it about the same as a regular generic grocery store bag, these bags will literally last for years. Just exactly as is, with no extra work. But yeah, if you want a little key holder or whatever, then just, I can't do it right now because these would not be the same length, but make one. If you want it to be 2 inches, then leave a 4-inch loop. So if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I'm just reinforcing it as I go. I don't have any of my older bags up here. I made bags. The last time I made bags was about, almost 2 years ago now. I have not had to. I think I had to repair one bag at one of the seams. But anyway, no. So the hindbrain is the hindbrain, the brain that controls us whether we like it or not. Is like, well, you're starving. You're not every time the famine comes, you're not doing so well. I use cutoffs with a swivel clip for my keys. Yeah. Well, you can just do the same thing here. And like I said, you just push it the rest of the way. You just push it the rest of the way down. And it's just built right in. So then when you're ready to just sew over it, it's thick though. So you got to keep that in mind. Am I done? 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 here. The other one I already put over there when I got up earlier, but But yeah, so your lizard brain is your worst fucking enemy when it comes to dieting. But then what your brain does is it creates set points. It's like, oh, well, after the last famine cycle, we lost 40, 50, 60 pounds. And we don't want to do that. We want to, that's not surviving. That's not doing well. That's not good. So they just reset. So then it says, well, once the famine is over and we can go back to feasting, I want you to weigh an extra 100 pounds or 50 pounds or whatever over and above what you did before. And you can reset that set point. You can reset the set point, but you literally have to change your entire way of thinking about how all that shit works. You got to let yourself have some of that junk food. Have your bag of chips. And then, but before you do, have an apple. Have your chocolate bar. Have a big drink of water first. You've got to make you have to address the hindbrain. And then over time, you don't just go cold turkey and make it all go away. You don't fix it with some cold turkey approach, right? But yeah, I don't know. That's this is entirely, then you get sick and you're glad to have a bit. Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah. I'll tell you right now, one of the interesting things, and they found this out during COVID. One of the interesting thing is, one of the things that they tried to say, I'm all done. People with pre-existing conditions didn't do very well during COVID, but what they found out that people who were underweight did really badly, because when you're sick, you don't eat, you don't do this, you don't do that. Your body has to burn up resources to fight it off. It's a fine line, because I mean, if a lot of people who become overweight, they don't, my opinion, they don't get sick because they're overweight. They get sick because other factors. They get sick. They may be overweight because they're already sick and can't be active, or they may be sick because they become overweight and then they stop doing things and stop engaging in healthy activity because they think they're not allowed to. Yeah, I'm harder to kidnap and I'll survive in a famine. But you know what? You'll also survive. You'll survive things like the flu. You'll survive things like the flu. You'll survive all kinds of, as long as you don't have other health conditions, you will survive all sorts of shit, because you'll have the physical resources. Like if you've got the flu and can't eat for a week, you'll survive that better than somebody who has got no reserve to spare. These are done, and I'm just fucking around with them. I got my work done. I've got 4 of these, 2 of these, and I made 2 of the other ones. Did a whole lot of talking and bitching and talking. Be back. 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. There. Now I have a whole new set of grocery bags. We found out that we figured out that we were using. You end up with those other shitty bags. So we realized we were using a lot of shitty bags and didn't have any nice bags. But this is my new set of bags. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fold them all up. I guess I got to roll them up from that direction. But anyway, no, I get on my high horse when it comes to weight, because the thing is that I get told I need to lose weight, but it's like, oh, you should lose some weight. Go on a diet. It's like, wait a second. Like, no, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Do I actually need to lose weight, or do I, okay, like for my leg, right? Do I need to lose weight, or do I need to build up muscle tone? And it's like, I already know the answer to that. Where am I going? How's that? Is that better? Is it back now? Fucking thing. Is it back now? I'm just going to babble on for a fucking hour. That's okay. No, the thing is that telling me that I need to lose weight does me no fucking good, because what I've got going on with my knee, I need muscle tone more than I need weight loss. Because with my knee tracks, there's the bottom of your bone goes like that. There's a track right here. Your kneecap slides in and out of that track. Well, mine's off to the side, so my kneecap goes, instead of going like that, my kneecap goes like that, off to the side. 25% of the population has it. I actually have it in both knees, but the left knee goes too far. That's where all the problems come from, right? Weight does not change that. Weight will not fix. Losing weight will not change it. Losing weight will not fix it. The only thing that will give me relief, the only physical thing that I can do for myself that will give me relief, is to keep muscle tone up. Muscle weighs more than fat. It's like, okay, so if I go on a diet, and quite often when you go on a diet, you lose your muscle tone before you lose the fat, which a lot of people don't know. And it can depend on your body and all sorts of shit like that. So it's like, no. You can go on a diet. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to focus on the things that make me healthy. And I'm not going to worry about whether or not weight loss becomes, I need to eat a certain way to keep my sugar down. And if I lose weight, that's great. I've got high blood pressure. There's certain foods I should avoid. Too much salt. Salt is the main thing I'm supposed to avoid. Okay. And if I happen to lose weight, that's fine. If I don't happen to lose weight, that's fine. That's what we're going to go with, right? And same thing with everything else in my life. And the reality is, here's the reality though. My weight has not changed in like 15 years. My weight's gone down in the last, my doctor put me on this, there's this one diabetes medication that they put me on, because the one medication, metformin is great, but there's another medication that's better, that's working better for me than the metformin was. But one of the side effects of that medication is a bit of weight loss. So I've lost a bit of weight because of a medication, not because I was trying, right? And, I don't know. I get on my high horse about it though, because it's like we create this expectation that, oh, just because you weigh a certain amount, so this is what you should be doing. And it's like, why is that not doing any? Oh, for fuck's sake, that's why. I think I can take that down now. Anyway, I'm just waiting for Lisa to get home now. Can you guys still hear me? Am I still? I am just on my high horse right now. I'm enjoying the fact that I got a bunch of stuff done. I didn't think I was going to get this much done, honestly. Like I said, my leg's been a bit of a fucking mess the last few days. No biggie. It'll go away. It always does. I'm a little gimpy. I'm a little gimpy and limpy. And now I'm going to go wash all this. I always wash this stuff before I do anything with it. I always wash this stuff before I start using it. Just to be sure. It's been in my stash for a while. I'm going to be putting food in these bags. One thing I love about these bags though is that they can be washed. Those crappy bags that you get at the grocery store, those crappy reusable bags that you get at the grocery store now, you can't wash them. You cannot wash them. I can do whatever I want to these bags. I can spit on them and they're fine. They're fine. Anyway, I'm going to get off the weight thing. I'm probably not. I'm probably going to go, hey, honey, this is what we were talking about all day. And I'm going to probably just impress her with my, but anyway. No, I mean, I think, like I said, I always go back in the exact same circle. And it's like, wash the bags, hang them in the line. But I'm going to get going because Lisa's going to be on her way soon. But I think for me, it's the exact same circle again and again and again, because it doesn't matter who you are, what your size is, whether you're underweight, overweight, normal weight. It does not matter, because we live in a society where we're terrified of it. We are completely, well, thank you, Tammy. But we live in this society, and this is the thing. This is why I really wish. This is going to sound really shitty. You got to bear with me. I really wish whenever we start talking about fat, overweight, dieting, whenever we start talking about that, the skinny girls shut up, which I get, and I really wish we could have a more. I can't think of the word. The right word escapes me. I wish we could have a conversation that includes everybody, no matter where they are on the literal scale of weight. Because when we're talking about weight, it's like we're not addressing how and why we have reached this mentality around it. Because like I said, over and over and over again, it's like, it's hard to sympathize with a person who is a normal weight. But when you look at that person and go, that person probably has a certain degree of fear. Like for them, it is a legitimate fear, terror around the idea of gaining weight. Yeah, nobody can give an answer as to why they're fat phobic. Do you know why they're fat phobic? Because they're terrified of waking up one day and being fat. Honestly, like, I mean, I walk down the street being gay. Nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody gives a shit about whether or not because being gay is accepted now, right? So nobody gives a shit about my sexuality anymore. It's like, whatever. Hey, how you doing? But they give a shit. And like I said, look up internalized homophobia and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Read any article on internalized homophobia and as you're reading it, change it to fat phobia. They're fat phobic because they're terrified of becoming fat. They're terrified. They've got an overweight relative that they look a little too uncomfortable. I look just like my aunt so-and-so who's overweight. Oh, I look just like my uncle so-and-so who had who reached a point where he needed bypass surgery. This relative is into these things, and they're terrified of becoming fat. That's the thing. That's what internalized homophobia is about, right? Is about people that kind of the lizard brain knows they're gay, but they're afraid of what happens if they come out, even to themselves. They may or may not know that they're gay, but they know what's going to happen if they come out. They're terrified of what happens if they come out. These are people that are fat phobia. They are terrified of what happens if they wake up one day and find out they are one of the fat people. They're terrified of it. And we live in a society that makes billions of dollars a year reinforcing that. Maria said, I was totally skinny, could not gain weight most of my life, and was very self-conscious because I was too thin. Not so much now, but we all tend to judge ourselves. We're steep in this shit. We are marinating in it. And the thing is that if I sit there, if I say, well, Moira, blah, 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 blah. Like, I mean, what's your experience? What do you have an experience with being afraid of gaining weight? You're going to look, not you, Moira, but the generalized you of the population is going to look back and they're going to go, you're just trying to justify your weight. It's like, I don't give a shit about my weight. I give a shit about how women treat themselves and treat each other. And that's what I give a shit about. And weight is one of the things that we use to compare ourselves to each other, to judge ourselves, judge each other. And it has created this whole thing. Like people like teenagers, oh, I'll kill myself if my weight ever goes above blah. And it's like, but that same kid is like, oh, I think I might be gay. I think I might be bi. I think they don't care anymore. These same kids back in like the 40s and 50s or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, two women together, oh, they should just kill themselves. Same problem. Same problem, different thing. We have different phobias now, but they're all coming from the same place. And the same place that most of these phobias are coming from is being terrified that it's going to happen to us. Because that is, next time you're in the grocery store, I'll tell you right now, here is your homework. There's 6 of you here, so somebody's going to have to do this. Here's your homework. Next time you're at the grocery store and you see those little magazines that are at the grocery store, how many of them, front page, I'm not talking about the ones that talk about celebrities. Well, even those ones. lose 10 pounds, make yourself more attractive, weight loss recipe, right? How many of every single magazine, count them, count how many of them talk like that. We are being indoctrinated to hate ourselves and to hate each other. And stop. It's like, and we do, well, we do, but we don't, right? So we, and again, the generalized we of society, and it's like, most people, when you hit a certain age, you just stop giving a shit. But when you hit a certain age, like, I mean, I don't know. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. And the reality is the people, I don't know how to describe this because I know I'm fat. I have come to terms with I know I'm fat. I know my limitations. I know this, I know that. Yeah. Lots of money to be made by the diet, makeup, fashion, and drug industries. Exactly. So it's like, when you take that out of the equation, who's actually telling you that you're fat? Who's actually telling you that you need to look a certain way, wear a certain thing? Who's telling you this? Because most of the time we're not. Well, how to get a guy to notice you? Exactly. It's like, how to get a guy to notice you? Be fucking awesome. The number of guys, and I'm, like I said, I'm not disparaging my own looks. Okay. I'm not shitting on myself going, look, I'm so ugly. I'm not doing this. Okay. What I'm saying is, I do not look like somebody that we have a stereotype. Guys like their women to look like this, act like this. Okay. I don't look like that. And I don't act like that. I am not disparaging myself. I'm saying how I look, the way I look. I have never, back when I was with guys, never had a problem meeting guys. Now, I still get hit on. Not a lot, not often. I'm old enough now that it's not happening anymore, right? But yeah, I mean, getting checked out, getting hit on, absolutely. We have this, women are taught to turn on each other. And I mean, sorry, as a lesbian, seeing women in women relationships and blah, 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 blah. We as women are conditioned to turn on each other at the drop of a fucking hat. And it's crazy how bad it is. And yeah, like this idea. Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, go out, you'll get hit on. I'm not kidding. And it's not and here's the thing. This is okay. I'm gonna leave you guys with this one thing because I forget where I saw a reference to this, and I'm not gonna express it correct. Oh shit. Are we still there? Oh. Ooh, I just went like this to get some dust off, and I ended up somewhere else. It's like, oh my God, I think I just closed the screen. Okay. Ask yourself this question. A guy who is attracted to a thin, stereotypically attractive woman has a type. And that's okay. It's like, oh yeah, she's really hot, she's really thin, she's this, she's that, this is okay. That's because people have a type, and they're allowed to have a type. I am not disparaging anybody for having a type. I have a type, right? But how come if that person is fat, disabled, which I happen to be both, old, how come the minute you do not fit the stereotype, why is it suddenly a fetish? It's like, no, people are allowed to think I'm hot. Guys, men or women, people are allowed to think I'm hot. They're allowed to think I'm awesome. They're allowed to think I'm attractive. They're allowed to want me. It's not a fetish. It's if the exact same behavior expressed now, okay, I get that fetishes exist. Okay, fetishes exist. That's a thing, right? But if this person can display this behavior towards a stereotypically attractive person and it's not a fetish, then the exact same behavior directed towards a person who does not fit those stereotypes is also not a fetish. Sorry. So why is it a fetish? Why is it a fetish? Why is it attraction when you're skinny, but it's a fetish if you're not? Because this is not just, again, Size, using size as the example is the easiest way to make the point. But tall women, short women, redheads, blondes, skinny, super skinny. There are people who are incredibly attracted to women who fit every benchmark for anorexia, period. Like they want zero body fat. It's way easier to make the example when you're talking about weight, but the example exists everywhere. If you're dating if you're a redhead and this guy is only interested in you because you're a redhead, why is it not a fetish? Why is it that's a preference, not a fetish? Unless you do not fit stereotypes that relate. This is shitty behavior. And then we have people, then we have guys getting into relationships with women that they're not really all that interested in. Guys, men and women, getting involved in relationships with people that they're not necessarily attracted to because the people that they are attracted to don't fit the stereotypes and they don't want to be judged by their peers. It's like, yeah, it's fucking crazy. But I will tell you right now, you just go out there and be your awesome self and you are going to find out. And yeah, I get it. More people are attracted to more, if you fit this stereotypical definition of attractive, yes, you are going to get more attention than somebody who does not fit that stereotype. But I'll tell you right now, even if you're playing on hard mode, there are 7 billion people on the planet. Even if you're playing on hard mode, there is somebody out there who thinks you are the hottest, most amazing person they've ever seen. End of story. Anyway, but I shouldn't talk about that part. I'm happily married, so back off, guys. But anyway, Lisa's going to be home any second now. I'm going to get going. Sorry for the rant. Well, I'm not sorry. Fuck that. I am not sorry. I am not sorry for the rant. I hope anybody who stopped in who does not fit the stereotype, that does not fit my stereotype, I hope nobody feels attacked by anything that I said, because that was definitely not part of the agenda. I'm always like on this bandwagon of we're all in the same boat, even if we don't think we are. And we need to stop letting other people tell us what we should and shouldn't. Not other people tell us. Like I said, it's like we are letting for-profit corporations tell us what we should want, what we should feel, what we should think, what we should look like, and turning women against each other to accomplish it. And it's crap. But anyway, I got to go. If I don't go, my wife is going to walk in the door and yell at me for, you said, blah, blah, blah. Well, she's not going to do that to me, but yeah, I love a great rant. Just wind me up on a topic and I will go on and on and on. But this is good because I got it out of my system. I can give my wife some space for a change. But I like the camera setup. I'm going to stick with that. I may be back on tomorrow, but I doubt it. I don't know. If my leg is a little bit more cooperative tomorrow, I'm probably going to try and get some actual work done. I don't think this type of bag is not going to find its way into the shop, but I may end up doing a couple of the padded bags. So those may end up into the shop, but yeah, I'll probably be back. I'll be back Friday for sure. We're talking about giants on Friday. So that'll be fun. And anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you on the next one. Take care.